most of the month of May at AAA, returns to the big league club here tonight in Baltimore to make his first start in quite a while for the big league club. And the Twins are on the road again. That's been just fine. You're wondering why they've won so many more ball games on the road than at home. It's because they're swinging it better on the road, averaging a little over 4.5 runs per game on the road. We're in the Charm City, Baltimore, Maryland. Only meeting of the year here between the Twins and the Orioles, the first of a 3-game series. And Twins baseball on Fox Sports North is presented by State Farm. No rain in Baltimore. Yay! Dick Bramer along with Jack Morris. We're going to get this game started on time, and we hope for no weather interruptions during this 3-game series. Twins survived a tough homestand weather-wise and with a couple of doubleheaders. The fear was that the bullpen would be tapped out before this series against this really good Oriole club began, but that has not been the case.
No, thank goodness the starters did well in those doubleheaders, and we know tonight that more than likely the bullpen will come into play again. Kyle Gibson is trying to still win his first game in the big leagues, and really his first game of the year. The bullpen has been outstanding for the Twins. Belisle, Duffy, Kinsler at the end, Taylor Rogers, they've all pitched well. Ryan Presley has shown that his last couple times out, he's totally been dominant. So we don't know who's going to be pitching in the bullpen. We have a pretty good suspicion that somebody will be coming out of the bullpen tonight.
Twins have played their best on the road. That's been true whether the opponent, the Texas Rangers, the Cleveland Indians. They're facing a really good Oriole club here in the first of 3 coming up in a moment. figure this is a young team, and most young teams learn how to win at home before they learn how to win on the road. But look at this, the Astros, pretty young team in their own right, and they've got a really good road record. All 5 of those teams, as you look at our Coors Light Cold Hard Facts, brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light, all 5 of those teams would be in the playoffs right now if the season ended. And the challenge for the Twins here will be to beat the Orioles here at home, something that doesn't happen very often.
15-4 here at home. The Orioles, one of the better home winning percentage teams in baseball.
We are at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Have been playing baseball here now for 25 years. Andre Martin, Jack Morris, Dick Bramer here for the first of 3. Night game tomorrow, day game on Wednesday. And the weather forecast has improved since we landed here. And Paul Molitor's career record against the Orioles a little skewed because in his first year the Twins went 7-0 against the Orioles. They won all 7 games. The Menards batting order: Brian Dozier, Robbie Grossman, Joe Mauer, Miguel Sano, Max Kepler, Eduardo Escobar, Jorge Polanco, Jason Castro, Byron Buxton. Of course, the Twins returning here to the start of the miserable season last year. The Orioles and Twins started the season last year, and the Orioles won all 3. A familiar opponent on the mound, Ubaldo Jimenez.
Jimenez making his 8th start of the season. He was dealt a loss his last time out in Detroit on May 17th. 11th career start in 12 appearances against the Twins, where he's 5-3 with a real nice 2.5 ERA. He's not yet won at home this year.
And the Orioles out in the field, brought to you by Northland Ford. Trey Mancini in left, Adam Jones in center, Seth Smith in right, Machado and Hardy and Scope and Davis the infielders. Wellington Castillo in his first year for the Orioles has given them a big boost in their absence of Matt Wieters. Here is Dozier, and a pitch down and away, ball 1.
Brian's done a pretty good job against Ubaldo over his career, batting at .318 with 7 hits and 22 at bats. So we'll see if he can get it started for the Twins.
1-1. And Dozier takes low. I would expect the Twins to try to wait Jimenez out. In his last 4 starts, he's only lasted 19 1/3 innings. He's given up 18 earned runs, in part because he's walked 13 men in his last 4 starts, covering just 19 1/3 innings. This one hooked down the line, foul. And of course, you know, maybe the strength of the team, but the biggest change offensively for this Twins team from a year ago is all the walks that they've been taking.
And that's a sign of patience and having better plate discipline. Paul Molitor has addressed that several times already, and it's been really working well for the Twins. They're getting starters out of the game quicker than most teams are, and we'll probably talk about that a little bit later.
Full count to Dozier. Grossman and Mauer will follow. Up the middle sharply, a base hit. And Brian Dozier waiting it out till 3-2, and then a solid single to center to start the ball game. For Jimenez, he's had some success against the Twins. But a lot of that was when he had that great turnaround year with the Cleveland Indians a few years ago.
Well, and I think we have to note that most of those wins were in Minnesota. They weren't home here at this ballpark. You and I were talking to Buck Showalter before the game down on the field, and he made reference to that very fact that, yeah, a lot of guys know the record that Jimenez has, but not so good here at Camden Yards.
And Dozier chased back to first.
I want to go back to that last at bat by Brian Dozier. We saw it in the second game of the doubleheader yesterday, where he went with an outside pitch to right center field and truly tried to hit it that way. And this last at bat, stayed on the ball, hit it up the middle. I think that's going to be a sign that Brian Dozier might be willing to try to go the other way more, and if he does, I promise good results.
1-0 to Grossman. In putting Dozier, Grossman, Mauer, and Sano in the first 4 spots, the Twins have taken their top walkers and put them in the lineup against Jimenez. Dozier with 20 walks, Grossman with 24 walks, Mauer with 18, Sano with 30.
Well, you mentioned it, Dick. We were talking earlier that this is a tough guy to have a real good game plan on. You've got to be patient, and when he's on, you just sort of have to tip your hat to him because he has such an unorthodox delivery, and he is so erratic on the mound with his command. So you can't go up there looking in a zone a lot. You hope to get something out over the plate early in the count if you're inclined to swing early. But I know Paul has probably told them all to be patient because this guy can implode on the mound.
Dozier got a great jump, and he's safe at second. A head first slide, and the Twins steal a base on the Baltimore battery.
Already the Twins with a runner in scoring position. Like you mentioned, typically the runner gets the jump off the pitcher, and the catcher really doesn't have a whole lot of chance. Wellington Castillo made a nice throw to J.J. Hardy, but Dozier in there ahead of the throw.
And Hardy didn't hang on to the throw. That was a closer play than I thought it would be when I saw Dozier's jump. Runner at second, nobody out. 2-1 to Grossman. And now 3-1.
Let's look at the weapons that Ubaldo Jimenez has. Pitch arsenal fastballs. He used to throw close to triple digits, not so much anymore. He's got the changeup, he's got the slider, and the curveball. You know, he used to have a forkball, a split finger fastball that was amongst the best in all of baseball, and that's his kind of changeup sometimes. Curveball look.
Grossman with a fly to left. Dozier thinking about a tag, just a bluff. Mancini, pretty good defensive left fielder. He makes the play, and Dozier still at second with one away. Talk about pitchers trying to hold the ball, and then there's Jimenez. He shows the baseball in 3 or 4 different spots.
Well, very few guys show it from behind their backside, but he drops that arm all the way behind his back, his hips, and then he brings it up, and it's by his shoulder, behind his head, and then it pops out in front of his face. Yeah, it's a tough thing. You know, you've got to try to ignore all the other stuff. And there's a guy that hit the ball pretty good himself. You see where his hand is, way down by his knee when he starts his delivery.
And the high glove,
yeah.
Classic Jim Palmer. Here's Joe Mauer, runner at second, one down. And Mauer takes a strike at the knees.
Mauer 5 for 20 off Jimenez in his career.
Just off the outside corner, 1-1. I'm surprised. It's when someone plays Joe straight up in the outfield. Take a look at the pitch. Just.
Yes, it's a rare day. And
yeah, you see
Joe's
how
got to take advantage.
They're playing him straight up.
You know, we look at the numbers for Joe Mauer, 5 for 20 in his career off of Jimenez. Well, he's one of the few guys that faced Jimenez when Jimenez was nasty.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of these younger guys have faced him in the last couple of years, and Ubaldo's struggled at times. He's not been near as good. I mean, there was a time when he was with Colorado that he was flat out filthy.
Dozier still at second, and now the count to Mauer 1-2. First time that Jimenez has pitched ahead of a batter. And now 2-2. Jimenez, first time the Twins faced him, he was still with the Rockies, and he came to the Metrodome and pitched against Francisco Liriano, and it was a mismatch. Liriano was pretty good back in those days, and Jimenez was just about unhittable. 2-2 to Mauer. Twins trying to get on the board here in the first, high and tight. Throughout the homestand, the Twins had a terrible time playing with the lead. They just really led in a couple of ball games. They won 3 because of the walk-off win against the Rockies, or against the the Royals. That was on Friday night. 3-2. And Mauer takes a walk. And there will be 2 aboard for Miguel Sano.
Already, as you can see by the pitch count, 17 pitches, and he's got recorded 1 out. Got runners at first and second. Let's look at the pitch selection to Joe Mauer. First a couple balls in the strike zone, and then he just isn't able to finish them off.
I guess in retrospect it's easy to say this, but when the count was 1-2, there was about a 50% chance of Joe getting a walk, even though the count was 1-2. Here's Sano, the batting average back over 300. His 34 runs batted in, second to Nelson Cruz's 37 in the American League. Strike of the knees.
Well, this is going to be a tough ballpark for Miguel Sano to stay within himself. You go out and have batting practice in this little ballpark, and he's crushing balls almost every swing into the seats in left field, right field, straightaway center field. And you've got to remember that there's still a game plan. And swings like that, he's trying to hit the ball. I don't know what that direction would be.
I believe that's north,
but there's a state up there somewhere that's where he tried to hit that one. And he doesn't have to do that. We've said it so many times that just a nice level swing, and he can crush the ball. It's got tremendous swing.
And a strikeout on 3 pitches, and that'll leave the inning to Kepler.
You look at those 3 pitches, nothing going straight, and really nothing in the zone. Just a little over anxious for Miguel Sano. First strikeout for Jimenez.
And now Kepler, who has stayed with his approach admirably, even when he was hitting line drives for outs. He just kind of kept doing what he was doing, giving the Twins good at bats, and now the hits, and a lot of them extra base hits, are starting to fall for him again. 1 strike.
Well, if he can stay down there, it's going to be a tough day for the Twins hitters. He's got such an over-the-top type of delivery, and all that arm and leg and hip and hat and all sorts of stuff to try to pick up that baseball.
1-1. At bats in situations like this are where the disparity is for the Twins this year. On the road, they've had a much higher success rate in at bats like this, and they've struggled more so at home, which is why the home record isn't nearly what the road record is. Inside 2-1. When you think back to the first 40 games and the big at bats in key spots, well, it seems like they've all come on the road rather than at home. So we'll see if Kepler can come through in his first at bat on this short road trip. Fouled away. 2-2.
Take a little side view look of Jimenez's delivery. See the leg lift and dropping that hand way behind him and right over the top. He's got tremendous arm span. Big tall guy with a long reach. So when that ball comes out of his hand, he's releasing it up front. It's got some buggy whip to it.
2-2 to Kepler. Driven to the left field corner, foul.
Max only 1 previous at bat against Ubaldo, so he's looking forward to his first hit. And, that's another situation we were just talking about. These kind of situations, runner and scoring on base, they've done better on the road. You're just hoping, no matter where it is, that they get more and more experience with this, because the more times they're put in these situations, I think the more they're going to relax and just know the game plan doesn't change.
Pull, third strike at the knees. Kepler doesn't agree. Jim Reynolds with the call. 26 pitches for Jimenez in a scoreless top of the first, and now it'll be Kyle Gibson's turn. Rochester on the 9th of May, the 15th of May, and now he's back in the big leagues, and he'll face this Menards batting order. Seth Smith leading off. Adam Jones, Manny Machado, Mark Trumbo, Chris Davis, Wellington Castillo, Trey Mancini, Jonathan Scope, and J.J. Hardy. And Gibson getting ready to deliver to Seth Smith. And missing ball one, and that was part of the problem the first few starts of the year for Gibson at this level.
Yeah, there's the numbers for Kyle this year, and most of them aren't very good. It's his 7th start. He did make the 2 starts down in Rochester, where he pitched 6+ innings in both starts, but still winless there also. And it was, I'm sure, a very tough thing for Paul Molitor, Thad Levine, Derek Felvey to all gather in Paul's office after this guy's been in the big leagues for over 2 years without any trips to the minor leagues, and have to let him know, look, it's not working. You're going to have to go down there and work on things.
There's a strike, 2-1.
And the one thing that they preach to him is, number 1, get the ball over early in the count. Throw strikes. Number 2, be more efficient with your pitches. We can't have you throwing 100 and some pitches over 4 2/3 and 5 innings all the time. And so we'll see if Kyle is more aggressive like Mejia has been and like Orioles has been since they've been called up.
Pulled the string, got a swing and a miss to even the count. Will be the changeup.
Well, and good movement right there. You saw that's a lot like Brandon Kinsler's fastball, where it just breaks back over the plate.
2-2 to Smith. Tap to the right side. And Gibson does a nice job coming back from 2-0 to get a weak ground ball, 1 away. And that'll bring up Adam Jones. Northland Ford defense for the Twins. Robbie Grossman's in left. Eddie Rosario's really struggled against Jimenez, so Grossman gets the start there. Buxton in center, Kepler in right. Sano, Polanco, Dozier, Mauer, the infielders, and Jason Castro behind the plate.
Yeah, and that'll allow Paul to have guys like Kenny Vargas and Rosario on the bench. Adrianza and Jimenez all ready to come in if they can get to Jimenez.
Strike at the knees, and Gibson delivers his first pitch strike. Jones having another solid year for the Orioles. Swing and a miss, 0-2. So Gibson misfired on his first 2 pitches, but now he's come back to throw 5 straight strikes.
And he's kept the ball down in the zone, changing speeds early in this game so far, trying to get him to be aggressive and hunt that fastball. They're not seeing that. You see a fastball away right there. Castro shifting off.
Missed outside, 1-2.
And to me, that has been one of Kyle's problems right there, that last pitch. Fastball away, but it's so far out and so far down that the hitter doesn't have any chance of really going for it. So it's almost like a wasted pitch. You've got to make it more tempting.
And Jones tempted there. He strikes out number 2 here in the bottom of the first. And let's find Audra Martin.
Well, guys, it's time to take a look at our Car Soup scoop from the clubhouse. When it comes to keeping the dominance on the road alive, Paul Molitor says right now the most important thing for his team to realize is that they cannot get too comfortable. He says things are not going to get easier. Today's a perfect example. You're going to face teams who are playing better at home, and other teams are just going to get better as well. He's been impressed with Max Kepler lately. He says you can tell his comfort level is getting closer to where it was a season ago simply by how he's being more aggressive on fastballs and how he's taking pitchers that are borderline pitches. And he wasn't surprised, but was very happy to learn that the bullpen ERA over the last 2 weeks is the best in the league. He says while the weather has been a bit of a nuisance, it's been great for keeping that bullpen fresh when it comes to those days off. Guys.
Well, thank you, Audra.
Yeah, that's no question about that. The bullpen, a lot of use lately, but very, very efficient out there.
Down and in, a ball. And now 2-0 to Manny Machado. Orioles had a bit of a scare last night. Machado was hit by a pitch in the hand, wrist area, but obviously he's fine.
I was sitting next to, or talking with Buck Showalter, and he interrupted me. He said, hold on a second. He went over and talked to Manny Machado, and he finally came back, and He said he got hit in the hand the other day, and I asked him how it was going. He said, well, when I move it this way, it kind of hurts. And he said, well, don't move it that way.
Twins were given a bit of a scare too regarding Phil Hughes, and while he's on the disabled list, the news isn't as bad as might have been feared. Right biceps tendon inflammation or tendonitis, and Phil getting the diagnosis today, but he is on the 10-day disabled list. I say good news only from the standpoint, at least it's not, torn rotator cuff or anything like that.
Bert and I were talking, and between the two of us, we pitched about 6,000 innings, maybe more. I don't even know what the number was, but neither one of us ever had any soreness in our bicep, and I cannot understand that. There's so many players today that come up with soreness in their bicep, and it's like, I know there's a reason. Obviously, it happens, and I'm not denying that Phil doesn't have it. I'm just wondering how it happens, because it never happened to either one of us.
Phil coming back from the surgery last year, the thoracic outlet syndrome, and the hope was that the shoulder problems that surfaced last year would be alleviated by that.
And I don't know. I mean, to me, it would make more sense that he would have a sore shoulder. The tendons in that area versus that big muscle, your bicep muscle. Just, I don't know. Maybe I'll talk to the trainers tomorrow and have them try to explain that one to me.
And then reduce it to layman terms so you can explain it to me and our viewers. Okay?
I'll try to work on that.
1-2 to Trumbo. Gibson trying to pitch around the very quick 4-pitch walk to Machado. And taken for ball 2. And now 17 pitches for Gibson. Jimenez pitched a scoreless inning, but through 26 pitches, Gibson would like to get Trumbo here. And
well, that's just it. Kyle gets the first 2 outs. He gets Adam Jones to swing out of the zone. Kind of a gift, because there's not a lot of guys that do that off of him. Then he walks Manny, and now a bunch of pitches, 4 pitches already to Mark Trumbo.
Full count, and Chris Davis on deck.
And one thing I think we have to let our listeners know, and Paul's talked about it so much, that AAA baseball doesn't always equate to Major League Baseball. And going down there, he had an ERA under 3 in his 2 starts. But so many more hitters in the minor leagues will swing at pitches out of the zone. Big league hitters don't necessarily do that.
Quick flip, Polanco, nice play to retire Trumbo going down the line. A very good play by Polanco to finish the first. Presented by Chevrolet, the #1 selling brand in the Twin Cities. And by State Farm. Combine auto and renters and see how much money you can save. Dick Bramer along with Jack Morris and Audra Martin bringing you Twins baseball. Twins in first place in their division, marginally, just a couple of percentage points ahead of Cleveland. Eduardo Escobar, the designated hitter, starts things in the second and takes ball one.
And you wonder maybe why designated hitter Eduardo Escobar? Well, tremendous numbers off of Ubaldo Jimenez. He's 4 for 7, a 571 clip.
Left side under the glove of Machado, and Hardy's throw gets Escobar. One down. Let's get tonight's showstopper from Audra Martin.
Guys, it was an adventurous day at Dodger Stadium for Giancarlo Stanton yesterday, avoiding disaster not once but twice. First, the right field fence, no match for his strength as he crashes right through, trying to track down that Jock Peterson home run. Then a few innings later, here's where strength meets mad hops, showing off the skills, leaping over D. Gordon to make a nice grab in the 8th. That could have been very ugly for both those players, but no surprise, in true Stan fashion, makes it all look very easy.
Scary play. One down. Here's Polanco. Paul Molitor was talking about the close calls we had in the homestand. Near collisions between Kepler and Buxton, and then the Kepler and Dozier. And thankfully, there was no collision in either case.
I was able to meet Giancarlo Stanton for the World Baseball Classic when Jim Leland, my good buddy Alan Trammell, were the coaches there in their first workout on assignment for MLB.com this spring. 6'7". This guy looks small on TV. You stand next to him and you're just little.
Jones coming in, makes the catch. Polanco retired. And now you look up, 4 in a row set down by Jimenez. 2 away here in the second. Partial season ticket packages are now available in the Delta Sky 360 Club and Catch. Become a Twins season ticket holder today, and you'll gain access to the Twins Sweet Spot program. Learn more at twinsbaseball.com or by calling 800-33-TWINS. Twins have a nice homestand coming up again. A couple of really good young teams, the Rays and the Astros, after this short road trip, and then only one homestand in the month of June. It's a long one, week and a half long, but 2/3 of the month of June will be spent on the road. Here's Jason Castro. Strike one at the knees, and now we've seen, after kind of a ragged start, Jimenez is burying that fastball at the knees.
Well, he's kind of, and it does typically for any pitcher, especially guys that have a little unorthodox delivery. It takes an inning or two to get your rhythm on the mound. The game field mound versus the bullpen mound, and he's starting to feel a little bit better out there, getting ahead of counts.
Orioles employ a pull shift for Castro, yet we've seen him routinely get base hits to left, but their intelligence says this is the way to play Jason Castro. 2-1. And then the interesting challenge, of course, is you put a shift on, which requires your pitcher to have enough control to throw the ball where.
Well, that's been my pet peeve, is if you put a shift on and don't pitch him to the shift, why are you doing that? You've got to get on the same page.
Castro lifts it to right. It is deep. Smith going back and off the wall, and Castro goes to second with a stand-up double.
That ball, when it left the bat, you and I both, I think, agree that it didn't look like anything but a routine fly ball to right, and yet it's high up against the wall there. And Castro gets his second hit in 10 at bat. That was his 10th at bat against Ubaldo.
Soft, easy swing, hit it off to the end of the bat, nearly got a home run. A 2-out double, and now Byron Buxton didn't play in the series finale, the nightcap of the doubleheader yesterday. Back in the lineup tonight. Checked his swing, took a strike over the inside corner. It just seems as if while Buxton's looking for the ball out away from him to exploit right field, teams are really burying the ball inside on it.
Well, what I saw on that last pitch, great movement by Jimenez, but Buxton making a move to do something before the ball travels far enough, and so he's committed. You saw it. You saw exactly what I saw. He was trying to go to right field, but he'd already dove out over the plate, so that ball that tailed back in just tied him right up.
1-1. And now on the outside corner. Buxton 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts against Jimenez.
You see him load, but his swing is, you know, he holds his hands on the bottom of the bat, so he's got a, you know, a big long swing, and it's not necessarily a quick swing. Powerful. He's got a lot of wrist, and when he makes contact with the ball out in front of the plate, he can really drive it. But so many times he gets tied up because of that long swing. Especially if the ball's in.
1-2. He's looking for another 2-out hit. And that is knocked down by Castillo. Backhanded it to keep Castro at second. Ball landed in the left-handed batter's box.
Again, you and I could sit here and say we're not swinging at that one. It's too far out. It's not close enough to tempt the hitter.
2-2 to Buxton. Hit hard to Machado.
One guy.
Buxton with a liner for the 3rd out of the 2nd inning. And Castro's left at second. Combination. Yeah, the Orioles had a lot of fun last year at the expense of the Twins, and no one had more fun than Adam Jones, Chris Davis, and Manny Machado.
You got to remember that was over the course of 6 games. They put up those big numbers. So yeah, they're doing this pretty much the same thing this year. This trio is just the heart and soul of their lineup.
Twins won 1 game last year. That was a made-up game after a rainout at Target Field. The Orioles won the other 5. But again, 2 years ago, the Twins won all 7 meetings. Here's Chris Davis to start the Orioles second. Ball 1. And now ball 2. Made it so frustrating last year. The Twins came in here. Of course, they had a good 2015. Had a very good spring training. There was so much optimism when the Twins opened the season here in Baltimore. Of course, they lost 9 games, but the games here were lost by scores of 3-2, 4-2, 4-2, and then the Twins went to Kansas City and close, low-scoring ball games, 3 more losses. And Kyle Gibson on 4 pitches walks Davis to start the second inning. And Wellington Castillo over the weekend did a lot of damage for the Orioles, including 3 big home runs.
Now he's one of the hotter hitters in baseball, and you see what he's done over the last 7 games. 4 home runs, 13 RBI, and a very respectable .438 batting average.
Been around a long time, but this is his first year with the Orioles, and he's doing what he can to make the Oriole fans forget about Matt Wieters.
Yeah, very popular guy, and I know his manager really loved Wieters. Buck Showalter.
There is a strike. "24 pitches, just 10 strikes for Gibson. He's had 2 4-pitch walks. One to Machado with 2 outs, and now Davis's leadoff 4-pitch walk. Rolled to short. They'll get 1, and Dozier can't pull the trigger on the throw. Couldn't get the ball out of his glove. So Castillo will reach on a fielder's choice on a double play that should have been turned.
Now Wellington does not get down the line all that well. Catchers usually don't. But Dozier just sort of bobbles this ball. Polanco does his job. Great throw there, but Brian, you can see, kind of fought trying to get the ball out of the glove hand. And that'll keep the runner on first base.
Here's Trey Mancini. And off to a wonderful start. A 300 batting average, 7 homers, 22 runs batted in. And Gibson starts him with a strike. Pretty good rookie class for baseball this year. Mancini got 14 at bats last year, but look where he's at. The competition, guys like Benintendi, Judge.
That's the one thing about baseball is every year there's a new crop of kids that come up and get fans in their communities excited, hoping that they're going to see a star for years to come. Guys like Mike Trout, already veterans. 20.
Bryce Harper, another
Bryce Harper,
one.
yeah, just crazy. Even Arenado, who's been in the big leagues a couple years with Colorado, who we just saw.
Drilled to center. Buxton back.
Oh my.
Almost made a circus catch. Rounding third, scoring is Castillo. And Buxton almost made the catch of the year. A sharp double by Mancini, and the Orioles take advantage of the double play that wasn't turned. It looked like he got leather on that ball.
I think he touched it, and I don't know how he could even get to that baseball. He was outrunning the ball at the time. He did touch it, and he runs into the wall. What an athlete. Unfortunately, that'll create the first run for the Orioles.
Just hit him in the thumb of the glove. And Byron will not sleep well tonight because of that. He takes that personally when the ball hits his glove and doesn't stay in. An RBI double for Mancini, and Scopes the batter. It was Gibson's last big league start at home against Oakland that saw Buxton miss some time. Similar type of plays, retreating on deep drives. And Buxton had to go through the concussion protocol, running into the fence at Target Field a couple of times with Gibson on the mound. Scope. That's a nice block by Castro.
Well, just like our series at home this weekend where we had wet field the whole week, it seemed like. It was a little drizzly, foggy, that type of weather here in Baltimore today. And so I imagine the outfield grass is a little bit wet, but sliding onto that warning track, you got to be fearless. I mean, that's like sticking into I don't know. You ever jump into wet sand? You know what that's like.
I've jumped into it, but I've never dove head first into it.
Probably has raspberries on his forearms. Fearless.
2-1 now to Scope. J.J. Hardy will bat next. Gibson trying to keep the damage to a minimum.
There's the skid mark into the wall.
And a strike, 2-2. I mean, honestly, to even have a play on the ball.
Yeah, it just hit off the thumb of the very end of the thumb of his glove. And I challenge you to go out anywhere in a field, run as fast as you can, and try to focus on something still while you're running. That's what he had to do there.
Strikeout. 2 down, and now J.J. Hardy.
Well, he gets scooped to chase the ball out of the zone right there. Gets ahead. That's the key.
Now J.J. Hardy.
Hardy's numbers off Gibson, incredible. 5 for 9, 556 batting average.
And Gibson starts him outside. Gibson started this inning with a 4-pitch walk, and while the Twins should have turned a double play and didn't, it is that runner that has come around to score. Not the same player, but the base that the Orioles got with the 4-pitch walk. And now 2-0.
And pitch count already starting to show typical Kyle Gibson. These are 35 pitches over 2 innings. And he still has an out to go to get through 2 innings.
Just 17 strikes. And a bullet to center. Buxton charges. Runner around third. Mancini trying to score. Throw to the plate. Right on the money. But Castro can't hang on to the throw. Mancini shook the ball loose out of Castro's glove, and it's 2-0. We'll check and see if Castro's all right. He's got the catcher's mitt. He's holding it in his right hand.
Yeah, he jammed his thumb or something. I'm sure trying to apply the tag. We'll get a better look at it here. You see Buxton coming up and charging the ball. Very accurate, strong throw right to the catcher. And you saw that just got kind of caught in there. He applies the tag. The elbow of Mancini just jerks the glove around a little bit for Castro, and his hand, I'm sure, is hurting a little bit.
So another base hit for Hardy against Gibson, but remember the count was 2-0. And the score is 2-0 right now. And Seth Smith, the batter. Strike one. First time through the order. Gibson's given up 2 hits and 2 walks. Swing and a miss. 0-2.
Good result there, but you see the location. Jason Castro sitting out away, and the ball's right over the inside part of the plate. So Kyle Gibson getting away with a pitch there because he kept it down. Seth Smith a little out in front of it.
Maybe in part because he got ahead 0-1 in the first place.
And back with the breaking ball.
And it's punched to right field, a base hit. And the inning continues. A couple of 2-out hits for the Orioles here. And now Jones will hit with 2 men aboard.
As we watch the end result of this pitch, it's down. It's you can see where Castro is going to try to catch that pitch, but the pitch right before it was almost in the exact same spot. Major league pitch hitters will adjust, and that was a case where Kyle was ahead. If he is able to straighten the guy up on a ball inside, a fastball belt high, thigh high in, kind of move his feet a little bit, then that pitch on the outer half of the plate would have been effective. But same pitch in the same location, good hitter is going to. Now this is the first of the breaking balls. You see it was down, actually might have bounced on the plate. Next one almost exactly the same spot. Seth Smith recognizes it, delivers a single to right.
2 aboard for Adam Jones. A high drive to left. Gone. A 3-run home run for Jones, and it's a 5-run inning. Three 2-out hits and a big fly by Adam Jones, and Neil Allen will come to the mound. And this is what the Twins saw from Gibson through April and into May. Falling behind and unable to finish off at bats or innings.
Well, let's take a look at the pitch, and you're not going to like it. And that's kind of where good hitters hit it a long way. 84-mile-an-hour breaking ball right over the middle of the plate. And you know, Neil Allen's coming out here right now. Paul Molitor really doesn't have an option of going to the bullpen this early. Adam Wilk pitched a long relief stint just the other day, and you know, again, you need innings out of Kyle. No matter what the results are, you need innings.
Inning started with a walk, a bouncer to short that probably should have been a double play, but then Mancini's RBI double to center despite Buxton's efforts. The strikeout of Scope, and now single home run. Big swing and a foul. Eventually, the discussion when Gibson has the type of starts that he's had has always eventually gotten to whether he does stand hitters up, whether he pitches inside enough. It happens regularly. I'm sure viewers are tired of hearing about it.
I know it. And you got to understand, I consider myself a good relationship with Kyle Gibson. I'm very hard on him because I see a guy that has the ability to win, but you cannot not pitch inside. Major league pitchers have to pitch inside.
Knocked down by Gibson, and that finally ends the second inning. But the Orioles jump on Gibson for 5 in the second. Baseball on Fox Sports North is presented by Northland Ford. Visit buyfordnow.com and your local Northland Ford dealer today. By Grand Casino, the best stories start here. And by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. Adam Jones, and we showed you the graphic. He had a good season series against the Twins last year, and he's off to a good start this year with a 3-run home run in the second inning.
He's a baseball player.
Ryan Dozier will lead off the third. Inside, ball 1, and now I can promise you that given Jimenez's history in recent years here against the Orioles, they're not sitting too comfortably in the Oriole dugout right now.
No, and the Twins just going to have to start pecking away, get base runners on, put some pressure on.
1-1.
Buck Showalter not overly confident in this guy going deep into a game.
Well, he hasn't, as we said. Last 4 starts lasting a total of 19 1/3 innings, giving up nearly an earned run per inning. Dozier cracks one. That is foul. Fair down the line, and I thought I saw it clearly land foul. And third base umpire Stu Shorewater called it fair, and that is a reviewable play because it's behind the umpires. But boy, I thought that ball landed foul.
Well, I'm going to let you use my glasses because I saw it hit fair.
Okay.
Oh my. Hit right on the line, I think.
The Orioles contemplating a challenge, and yeah, they're going to take a look at it.
This will show us.
It's going to disappear. No, that by the width of the baseball, I think that's foul. Not that my eyes are that good, but it just had so much hook on it that
it really did have a lot of hook. Manny Machado jumped up to his left, his glove side, and then that ball still hooked left.
So the Orioles pretty confident in challenging this, because why else would they use their challenge in the 3rd inning up by 5 runs? So Dozier standing at second.
You know, without the technology of the cameras that they have inside their dugouts or just inside their dugouts, old school Earl Weaver would have never had a chance to challenge that unless he saw it with his own 2 eyes. But it's all the camera angles and everything that managers can take a quick look and then ask them to take a look at it.
Take another look as you look right down the baseline, and unfortunately I think the umpire's profile will block where this ball lands.
Yeah, his shoe blocked it out.
Here is the best angle we have.
And that's right on contact there. You can see there's a little daylight between the line and the ball there.
Fact of the matter is, back in Earl Weaver's day, if they had replay challenges, no one would have known who the manager of the Baltimore Orioles was. He got more camera time and publicity with his.
I disagree. He would have still turned his hat backwards and gone out there.
You might be right. You might be right. Earl passed away a few years ago. He was actually, oddly, a regular visitor to the Twins fantasy camp, and I got a chance to spend a little time with him, the Hall of Fame manager.
I absolutely loved watching Earl do his thing. We'd come into the old Memorial Stadium in my young days.
Right, maybe under the left foot of the umpire, you might see it land foul. But again, all it takes is one part of the baseball to touch part of the baseline.
They're taking their time here. Obviously, New York has maybe a couple different angles that we're not seeing. You would think this would be black and white. But they have to, again, the way the rules stated is they have to have conclusive evidence to overturn the ruling, and he ruled it fair.
Well, in New York, they've got a big wide screen, wide angle look, but they have to judge based on what we've seen here. And they're going to leave Dozier at second base.
Yep.
Boy, Twins may have caught a break there, and Dozier, who singled sharply in the first, now has a double leading off the 3rd. We'll try to zoom in here as best we can. And again, if any part of the ball hits any part of the line, which I still don't think it did, but
well, they're not changing their minds now.
No.
And what it really means is Brian Dozier's 2 for 2, and he's gotten 2 hits in a row. And since that baseball we talked about in his last game of the doubleheader, staying in there a little bit longer, just that split second longer, giving him the chance to barrel up the baseball.
And now here's Grossman. And you'd like to think, wouldn't you, if you're a Twins fan, that the fact that the Orioles used their challenge in the 3rd inning, they're done now until they can appeal to the umpires after the 7th inning. 2-0 to Grossman. Swing and a foul, 2-1.
Well, the leadoff man on, scoring position. The Twins have to apply a little pressure and get right back in this game. They don't necessarily have to tie it up, but get 1 or 2 and show them that they're not going to roll over, something that the Twins seemed to do regularly during the middle and later part of the summer last year.
2-1 to Grossman. Fouled back. Get to the ballpark and we look at the lineup, and there are a couple of things that catch your eye when you look at the lineup. And one of the things that caught our eye was the fact that Grossman was in left field instead of Eddie Rosario. And then you look at the stats and you realize Rosario is 0 for 8 with 5 strikeouts against Ubaldo Jimenez. It's not just the 0 for 8, it's the fact that Rosario struck out 5 times.
Right, no contact, and those are the analytics that this game is played by nowadays.
Same reason as we explained with Escobar, why he's the designated hitter rather than Kenny Vargas. Great numbers against the pitcher.
Well, Vargas basically coming into today's game just like Kepler. They both had 1 at bat.
Dribbler up the line.
Gonna be tough. Get out of the way.
Meeting of there are 6 legs standing on or near the base at that juncture. On the play, Dozier goes to third. And that'll bring up Mauer. Twins fell behind yesterday in the afternoon game. Big early to the Royals, and then came back and made it interesting at the end. And so we'll see if they can do that here. And if that's going to happen, they need to get Dozier in from third here in the 3rd inning. Twins misfired in an opportunity or two against the Royals yesterday, and it ended up costing them in the end.
Well, they've got a good guy at the plate to work the count, make him throw strikes. Joe's as good as there is. One of the tougher guys in baseball to strike out.
Mauer walked his first time up. Twins hitless in 5 at bats with runners in scoring position. They had a runner in scoring position in all 3 innings against Jimenez. 2-0. Activity in the Twins pen. It is assumed Gibson will be sent out there for the 3rd. Mauer takes a strike of the knees. Dozier with a disputed double, but a double nonetheless, and now he's at third with 1 out.
Not only are we seeing the infield playing pretty much straight away on Joe Mauer, so much range from Manny Machado. Is, you know, he's so far off the line, and yet that's just what the Orioles want with that guy out there.
And ball goes after the pitch down in the dirt. 2-2.
Well, I think that's the split finger of Jimenez right there. Ball just really dived down in the dirt.
2-2. Sano on deck. And now 3-2 in the first inning plate appearance. Jimenez got ahead of Mauer 1 and 2, and then ended up walking him on the next 3 pitches. Full count to Mauer. Pulled on the ground. A run will score. Davis almost pulled his glove up, but he stayed with it. Mauer will get credit for a run batted in. It's 5-1. And Sano will come up with the bases empty. Jimenez had a comeback year with the Indians. So much so that the Orioles took the bait and signed Jimenez to a 4-year deal. That deal expires after this season. And it's been a very underperforming contract for the Orioles. Sano takes outside a ball.
Well, baseball's in recent years been kind of known for that. We just read about Anibal Sanchez with Detroit, Mike Pelfrey with Detroit.
Sanchez was sent to Toledo, the AAA team for the Tigers, where he will be put into the rotation there. Get some work in the rotation, but he'll be making in the neighborhood of $16 million to pitch in a AAA game. And more than one, I would assume. 1-1 to Sano. So it's, you know, a tough question for an organization, and it's easier to spend somebody else's money. But what do you do with a bad contract? Somebody who's underperformed like Jimenez. If the Orioles stay in the race in the American League East, and it's assumed at this point that they will, are they going to keep giving this guy the ball every 5 days? Strike call to Sano, 2-2.
Well, I think Buck has really done a great job. Their pitching coach is Roger McDowell, and you know, those two guys have to determine that. I think Buck knows how to work a bullpen with with the best of them and certainly try to put them in position to be successful.
And now 3-2.
But here's the issue. You're not going to get anybody to take the contract as it stands straight up. That's the issue that makes it tough. So how much are you willing to chew if you make a trade? Who wants him? First of all, where is he going to fit in another organization? Those are all questions GMs have to think about.
And then Jimenez will be, as they say, off the books next year. Kepler on deck. Twins trying to put together an inning here. They've taken advantage of a leadoff double to at least get on the board, and now Sano with a long battle against Jimenez. A high drive to center field. Jones going back, and now coming in, making the catch on the edge of the track. One on the board for the Twins. You're watching Twins baseball presented by State Farm. Third against Kyle Gibson. Gibson got him to bounce out to short. Nice play by Polanco to end the first inning. And then all sorts of trouble brewed in the second inning for Gibson, starting with the leadoff walk. Trumbo, Davis, and Castillo here in the Oriole third.
Well, pretty potent lineup. Again, we're not talking about a team that isn't playing well. They've got a better record than the Twins coming into today's game with 25 wins, only 17 losses. They're a half a game behind the New York Yankees, and Twins are going to have to play well in order to win this series.
Driven hard into the corner, and the third inning will start with an extra base hit. Well, what saved the Twins to be in position to do well in this series, even though Santana didn't have his great stuff, he gave the Twins 7 innings.
Well, that's just it, and that's what I call old school. You know the situation. You got a doubleheader, and Brios comes out, just was fantastic. His breaking ball, the best I've seen it. Mejia comes in, getting his first start since being recalled from AAA Rochester, and he really attacked the strike zone. Just reared back, almost like saying, you know what, I'm going to throw it over. You guys, good luck to you. I'm going to let you hit it. You got to hit it. I'm not walking you.
On the ground, Mauer to Gibson covering, and on the play, Trumbo goes to third. Twins got a leadoff double in the second and turned it into a run, and now the Orioles following the same script. Well, what made it so exciting with Barrios stepping up and Mejia to a lesser degree yesterday, I think everybody acknowledges that this start has been a really good start for the Twins, but if they're going to sustain it and carry it through the season, they need some starting pitching help. And if it's not going to come from the outside, it better come from within.
Yeah, and the reality is, you know, Irvin starts out the month of April just phenomenal, and his last 2 or 3 starts haven't been the greatest, but he's still getting them depth as far as going deep in the game. Rios has been everything plus that you could expect him to do.
Infield in, nice play by Polanco, looking to run her back, and that's a really good play by the shortstop.
That was just poised. You know, the kind of play that a veteran would be out there. Watch how calm he is and how he reacts to this ball to his right. He looks at the runner, makes Trumbull go back. Trumbull not the fastest guy, and easily gets Wellington or Castillo at first.
2 down, and now Mancini drove a double into the left field corner to drive in the, excuse me, that was the drive off the glove of Buxton that drove in the first Oriole run last inning. Blocked by Castro.
You know, I've watched for years now Kyle Gibson not afraid to throw the ball off the plate away. But if he could have those same kind of mentality of off the plate in, I know he would have better results. Back-to-back breaking balls away. And this is why, in the back of his mind, the last time he threw a fastball to this guy, Mancini hit the ball all the way to the center field wall.
2-0. Swing and a miss by Mancini.
And that's the kind of sinker Kyle needs to throw more often if he can. Ball at tremendous movement, ends up down and in. Mancini swung over the top of it.
Three and one.
So 3 breaking balls that none of which have been close. And now he's going to have to throw a strike. This is the perfect hitting count for a hitter. This is where they get excited. They can keyhole it is what they call it. They just sit there and look in an area and they hope that the ball's in that area.
Third walk issued by Gibson, 1 each inning. That'll bring up Scope. When you were called up, did you go back, and how many times?
I was called up and I didn't go back for a year and a half. I hurt my arm and went to winter ball, came to spring training all ready to go. I was the last day of spring training. I was on the team bus going to the airport and got called off the bus and sent back, and I spent a month and a half in the minor leagues and never turned around again.
Sano with a fine play behind the third base bag, ending the inning and denying the Orioles another run.
He was relaxed.
In first place is largely because of how well they played in the field. Just 14 errors on the year, and I think the skeptics or cynics were anticipating both Sano and Polanco were going to have an error a week all year long, but they've been really good over there.
Well, Polanco has really been a plus. I mean, a lot of people didn't think he had the arm to play shortstop, but he has the instincts, and this guy maybe the best throwing arm as far as strength of any third baseman in the game right now.
Kepler with a drive to center field. Jones going back, no chance. Kepler on the first pitch hammers home run number 5.
Well, that's that sweet swing of Max Kepler. He gets such good backspin because of the way he approaches the baseball, and the ball just jumped out. Adam Jones knew immediately that no chance on that one, so now the Twins within 3 runs.
Got a leadoff double in the 3rd, now a leadoff home run.
That's just perfect. Just a beautiful swing.
I don't know how good of a hitter you were, but
not that good. Otherwise, I wouldn't have pitched.
For heaven's sakes, for most of us, for 99% of us, just making contact with a baseball is challenging enough. And here you and other guys are talking about getting backspin on the ball, and it's like, come on. Some of us, we couldn't even make contact.
Well, the good guys. Now, Ted Williams said he could count the stitches as it's coming at 90 miles an hour. So my goodness, I don't know. I ain't buying it, but he said he could.
Escobar rolls out, 1 down. That'll bring up Polanco.
But Max does that kind of swing. Dave Winfield had that kind of swing where they're hitting the bottom half of the baseball on a downward plane almost, and the ball just takes off. It gets that backspin, and those are the balls that just shoot. Now, you remember Winfield. You saw him, and he hit rockets. That's what Max Kepler does. He hardly ever hits the ball that's a towering fly ball or a little looper. It's, those are only broken bat situations, either jammed or inside.
Scope can't flag it down, and Polanco's got a base hit, and the Twins trying to put together a bigger inning here. That's what made Kepler's home run yesterday so unusual for him, because his home runs typically are like the one we just witnessed with a drive to center field, and the one in the ball game last night was a fly ball that just barely made it over the wall.
I bet I'm going to try to summarize, and I know Roy will address this. It's one of those deals where hitters love to talk hitting, pitchers obviously we like to talk pitching, but I'll summarize Max Kepler in this: he's not trying to hit home runs. He's just trying to hit the ball hard.
You hear that,
and there is, I'm telling you, Brian Dozier tries to hit home runs. Miguel Sano at times tries to hit home runs. Joe Mauer never tries to hit home runs, but Max Kepler does not try to hit home runs.
Here's Castro. Floats high, ball 1. It's almost a cliche, though, Jack. You hear hitters talk about that all the time. I know what you're saying about Kepler, because it seems to be true. He hits it hard, and it happens to go over the fence.
And it's, again, this is where some of these new instruments of measure that we have in baseball, the metrics, exit velocity and spin rates and all those things. That's something, I don't know how you equate that, but he does have more backspin with the ball, and therefore the trajectory is not, I don't know how to even say this, it's probably flatter, but he's driving the ball faster because it gets the carry. It's like a golf ball. If you hit it properly, it's going to have backspin and it's going to carry further. The
launch angle isn't all that impressive, but the ball seems to carry 400 feet a lot. 1-1 to Castro. Polanco gets back. Castro hit a double, fly ball to right, about halfway up on the scoreboard. Checked his swing, and he took it outside. 2-1.
Look at the pitch count already for Ubaldo. This will be a 70th pitch coming up. He's got 1 out in the 3rd inning.
4th inning.
Excuse me, 4th inning. And it's just a matter of time before there's going to be some activity in their bullpen. Is high for the year. Is 112 pitches. 128 is his career high, so he's 3/4 of the way to his high for the year already.
He was successful with essentially this delivery, more velocity, but our hitter's good enough. We talked about how he flashes the baseball behind his back. Can a hitter look back there, see the grip, and have a pretty good idea of whether it's a fastball or a breaking ball or a splitter coming? There goes the runner, and it is ball 4.
I don't think you can look in both places. This is just my guess. All right. Now I know I'd love to sit with a bunch of my old teammates and current players and see which one wants to make an argument, because I'm sure we could produce an argument, but I have a tough time believing they're going to see what pitch by the grip behind his back. But what they do is they can see the little idiosyncrasies of how they hold their glove, or whether or not they're spreading their glove, or the way they go into their glove to approach the baseball. Those are things hitters, really good ones, can pick up, and then they'll pass it along to everybody on the bench. And some guys want to know, some guys don't want to know.
Well, there's a little controversy in the Detroit game last night where Miguel Cabrera from second base was trying to convey to hitters that the guy was throwing a lot of changeups, and that was interpreted as him stealing signs and relaying them to the hitter and all that. Well, Castillo goes to the mound to try to get Jimenez back into the strike zone. It's a 1-0 count to Buxton, and with 2 on, Buxton represents the tying run.
Well, it's up to the pitcher and the catcher to recognize those things that you just talked about. The incident where a guy on second base might be tipping the signs to the hitter. And you can handle it any way you want, but most of the time they change signs. And if the guy still picks it up, I would suggest you just walk out to him and say, you're going to wear it, or the guy at the plate's going to wear it. Which one do you want me to do?
2-0 to Buxton.
And that'll stop all that nonsense.
Good cut at a pitch and fouled it straight back.
Yeah, he'd like to have that pitch back. He just missed that one.
Buxton hit a home run in the homestand against the Rockies.
Let's look at this last pitch and last swing. The ball's kind of coming back into him. Buck just missed it off the end.
Fox Tracks presented by Jeep. Now Buxton takes strike 2, an off-speed pitch. They say that after his 90th pitch, and he's getting there rather quickly, opponents hit .429 against Jimenez. And Buxton strikes out. And that's out number 2, and Dozier will come to the plate now as the tying run.
Well, Brian Dozier has had a tough start to his year with runners on base. As we look at this last pitch, Jimenez just buries a breaking ball down in the zone. This is probably a split finger again. And see how it just drops right out of the zone. Buck already, you could see by that swing, you have to be already committed to take a swing like that. You don't recognize the pitch. You're already swinging before he releases the ball.
Dozier with 2 solid hits, a single to center and a double on the foul line. Strike on the outside corner with an off-speed pitch.
Anyway, Dozier had a tough time with runners on scoring position so far this year, but you can almost sense that that's going to change. It did in the second half of last year, and that's where he really, for the most part, got all his runs batted in.
Tapper up the line, foul, 2 strikes.
And is sticking with that split finger breaking pitch, trying to get guys to swing out of the zone down. It's tough to be patient. Runners are on base, and you want to see a fastball that you can drive, and that's when pitchers have to go a little softer and take the aggression from that hitter and make it work for them.
Dozier drove in 99 runs last year, but then you discount the 42 home runs where he drove himself in, and that's kind of a continuation of what you're talking about last year, where he really, in situations like this, didn't produce as much as he had hoped. It was about this time, as you said, where the batting average started climbing steadily with not just home runs, but he had 35 doubles, 5 triples.
Just saw a shot of Kyle Gibson. Now the Twins.
And Dozier got a piece of it.
Are nibbling away back, getting him back in this game. Dozier with a base hit could give Kyle Gibson some hope. He's got to go do out what he did last half inning and put a 0 on the board.
Jimenez trying to finish business here in the 4th inning. This will be his 80th pitch through 26 in the 1st inning. 2 strikes to Dozier. Now a ball.
Eighty heaves already. 26 in the 1st inning, 21 in the 3rd. Already 18 here in the 4th. Twins are making them work.
Popped up. Playable for Davis. First pitch of the inning was hammered for a home run by Max Kepler, and the Twins are slowly crawling back into this game. Will get us caught up with the Orioles in front.
Well, J.J. Hardy has been tremendous against Kyle Gibson, but that was the big blow of the game right there. Adam Jones with a 3-run shot in the 2nd inning for the Orioles. Max Kepler just absolutely punishes this baseball straightaway center field. And the Twins are within 3.
A group of fans. They're not even watching the game up there. What's going on? Admiring the sunset, I guess, the skyline.
Still looking for that baseball that I gave up, I guess.
Popped up foul and out of play, 1-1. Did you prefer Memorial Stadium or this beautiful ballpark?
You know, I really did prefer Memorial Stadium. It was probably more of the memories I had back there. Those were the days of Earl Weaver and several Hall of Famers that were on the Oriole team, including Eddie Murray.
Tap to 3rd, and that hits the bag and bounces over Sano's head. Hardy rounds first, on his way to 2nd, and he's got a double.
6th hit in 11 at-bats for J.J. Hardy against Kyle Gibson. And just not getting any easier for Gibby. Every inning he's been put in the stretch position.
Leadoff walk in the 2nd, leadoff double in the 3rd, and then this thing.
And that's the bounces sometimes. See Sano, no question he was going to be able to make a play. And the ball hits the bag and pumps it over his head.
And now Seth Smith with a runner at second, nobody out.
One of the other reasons I like Memorial Stadium was the very limited foul territory here at Camden Yards.
What's wrong with that?
That's great for hitters, not so good for pitchers.
Orioles got a leadoff double, a conventional double in the third. But Gibson pitched around it, got 3 ground ball outs and never did allow a run. Orioles have gotten another run closer. And you'd like to do the same thing here and leave Hardy on the bases. 1 strike. Pitch up and in, an 0-1 pitch that moved Seth Smith.
Yeah, that was a fastball that just really seemed to tail, and now what he needs to do is back it up again. You don't have to throw above the belt, but it's never a bad idea to move a hitter's feet, especially when they get so comfortable that it appears from the mound that they're basically standing up there like they're hitting it off a tee.
To left, Grossman for the catch, a liner for an out, 1 away.
And that's where positioning really comes into play. That ball, if he's playing normal left field, that ball's going to be a gapper. They had him shifted over towards Buxton in center field. And just a few steps, and Grossman's able to catch the ball.
Join Fox Sports North Saturday, June 3rd for the Girls on the Run Twin Cities Spring 5K at Normandale Community College as we inspire girls to be healthy and confident. To register, visit foxsportsnorth.com/events. 1 down. Hardy still at second, and now Adam Jones. Gibson hug him a breaking ball with 2 on and 2 out in the second, and it might have just now landed. 3-run home run. And Jones, through this good start for the Orioles, has been their best clutch hitter. Toward the hole, cut off by Sano. He looks the runner back and makes a nice throw with Polanco circling behind to cover third base.
Well, he made that look a lot easier than it was. Sano moves well for a man his size. Going to his left there and cutting the ball off before Polanco would have to go. Watch how he goes all the way to his left and just makes a stab at that ball, and then he's so strong. Even though the throw is a little off the target, Joe Mauer so good at helping those guys off on the other side.
Here's Manny Machado. Pitch count good for Gibson. He's on the verge of wrapping up the 4th inning, he hopes anyway, with 60 pitches. And if he can, for the 2nd inning in a row, pitch around a leadoff double, maybe one of those little momentum ticks we were talking about during the doubleheader yesterday. I tend to think of momentum sometimes in sporting events as one big play, but sometimes it's just one little thing after another, it seems, whether it's in football, basketball, hockey, or baseball.
I'm going to tell you something. And Torrey talked about it, and LaTroy talked about it, and certainly Bert's talked about it, and Roy, that this team doesn't give up. This is a very good offensive Minnesota Twin team.
Foul away.
And I think they've bought into the word team. Max Kepler, the pregame show, the postgame show, was talking about how they win, lose, or draw. They're pulling for each other. They're wanting to see good results. And I think we're seeing that. I think we're seeing a change in this organization offensively. And so that can really help a pitcher like Kyle Gibson, who has really had no good results this year.
Kicks away from Castro, and up to third now goes Hardy with 2 down. Machado, the batter, he walked on 4 pitches in the first. Now the count's 2-1. You know, the game like this, and I hate to bring up a bad memory maybe for you, but you know, the '87 Twins had that attitude. They don't like giving up 5 runs, but if it's early in the ball game, you know what? We got a decent shot of coming back, and they did a lot of times in 1987.
Hey, they were world champs for a reason. They peaked at the right time. They played their best baseball at the end.
2-1 to Machado, and a ball stroked to left, the base hit, and the Orioles will get that leadoff double around to score. Machado digging for second, and he'll reach with a double.
That was just one of those hanging breaking balls again. I'm watching out of the corner of my eye because I was looking at the left side of the infield, and I could tell, just because of the millions and millions of pitches that I've witnessed in my life, that ball was going to be up, and it has hit me written all over it.
That was not unlike the breaking ball he threw Adam Jones. Now you look up, and there's 7 hits and 6 runs. 150 doubles for Machado. And now here's Trumbo, who doubled his last time up. Twins 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position. The Orioles 3 for 9. We were talking about Adam Jones and how good he is with men in scoring position. He's 1 for 3 today with a 3-run home run. But he came into the game hitting .435 this year with men in scoring position. And it'd be nice to be able to count on that, but that expertise, that ability with runners in scoring position is something that accrued over time. Down low 2-0. And some activity now in the Twins bullpen with Gibson trying to wrap up the 4th inning. Tyler Duffy warming up. Twins have the 3 games here, another one tomorrow night, another one Wednesday. Then there's an off day on Thursday. So you'd like to believe that be all hands on deck here, if need be, for this 3-game series with an off day Thursday. Hard and foul.
Well, Kyle's out there, and all of a sudden you're seeing balls that are in the strike zone hit extremely hard. And that's got to be so frustrating to him. But there's a reason for it. The balls are elevated. He's not getting the ball down. He's not moving anybody. Nobody's uncomfortable. And I'm not implying that every hitter you have to move their feet, but you've got to recognize that one pitch to one guy sends a message and through the whole dugout.
On the outside corner. Two and 2 to Trumbo. And now 3 and 2.
Well, that's a little. You got to just tip your hat to Trumbo. They're not offering at that pitch down. Kyle Gibson threw it in a tempting area. And hitters want to pick up that RBI. You'd think that Trumbo might be going to chase that pitch, but he's patient.
Full count. Davis on deck. And he missed the edge. 4 walks, 1 every inning. And Davis, obviously a very dangerous hitter, will have a chance here to all but put this game out of reach. It's 6-2. The Twins are trying to climb back into the game, and they've already given one back here in the bottom of the 4th. Davis drew a 4-pitch walk to start the 2nd inning. That was the beginning of the 5-run inning, and then he hit a ground ball to Mauer in the 3rd.
Well, Paul's just hoping that Kyle can get an out here. Tyler Duffy not quite ready, I don't think, in the bullpen. And
71 pitches, just 38 strikes for Gibson.
You just can't afford to let the Orioles score another run here if you have any hope of getting back into this game.
Tapper to Mauer, and that'll wrap things up. Damage kept to a minimum. 1 run in after the leadoff double, and it's 6-2. Time now for our Pepsi fans of the game. There must be some Twins fans here because when Kepler hit the home run, I heard a lot of hooting and hollering, and sure enough, there are. It's always a popular place. The Twins travel well here, and I have no idea why that would be, but it seems like there's always quite a few Twins fans way out here in the Baltimore area. Robbie Grossman will lead off the 5th for the Twins. Team's roots, of course, were in the D.C. area before the first edition of the Senators moved to Minnesota, but it just seems like there are a lot of Twins fans in this part of the country. Grossman, Mauer, and Sano with the Twins trying to whittle away at what is now again a 4-run Baltimore lead. Up high 2-0.
Oh, pitch count getting up there for Jimenez, so the Twins just got to keep grinding and grinding.
You mentioned Earl Weaver and who was it? Dan Stanhouse. He called him full pack or something because he'd smoke a full pack of cigarettes when he would pitch. He was so nervous. If Earl was around, and we're not advocating smoking by any means, he'd go through a carton with Ubaldo Jimenez on the mound. Don Stanhouse. Remember him? I don't even think he was a starter. He was a relief pitcher.
I remember a guy, I think his name was Stanton. He was huge.
And Grossman starts the 5th with a sharp single to left. So the leadoff man is on. The Twins have gotten a leadoff single, a leadoff double, a leadoff home run. Now another leadoff single. This is your chance to play catch on the same field as your Minnesota Twins following the Twins home games coming up on May 27th or July 9th. You're invited onto Target Field for this unique experience. To learn more and get your ticket to catch on the field, visit twinsbaseball.com/catchfield. Here's Joe Mauer. Mauer with a walk and a ground ball and a run batted in. Trying to put another man aboard here for Sano. There's a bunt up the line, and Jimenez will watch it roll.
Perfect bunt. Joe is really good at not panicking. His drag bunts are more like sacrifice bunts in the fact that he squares up around, gets the bat out in front of him, and he places the ball before running. Fundamentals. Can you believe that?
We saw it last night. Was a Whit Merrifield of the Royals did the same thing. He established, his foundation and got in a good bunting position, put the ball down, and then ran. Well, there are 2 aboard now for Sano. The Twins would like to think the big man is due, when in fact he is due. His last home run coming 10 days ago in Cleveland.
Well, I don't think he's going to see a fastball.
Down and away, ball 1. Kepler will hit behind him regardless of what happens in this at bat.
Oh
my.
Went through him.
Right over Jimenez's cap, and the Twins down by plenty. 4 runs won't send Grossman. That was scary. That man, and you've heard about exit velocity and how he leads the major leagues. Jimenez nearly got sculled by that line drive.
That brings back memories for me. The
not happy ones, I'm guessing.
No, the hardest ball that I think I ever gave up was not a home run. And I gave up many home runs to this guy I'm going to mention. But we were talking about Max Kepler and that backspin he got. There was a guy in our generation named Al Oliver, and he hit a ball.
Great hitter.
He hit a ball off of me in my windup that when I released the ball, before I could get my glove up to my midsection, the ball hit me square in the belly. Ooh. Okay, and that I'm guessing it was an exit velocity about 450 miles an hour. I mean, it had to be well over 100. I can promise you that. Probably 120. And I had literally a tattoo of a baseball. I could see the seams at the end of the game. I could see the seams and where it was. And my only recourse was to kind of miss with the slider, get him in the kneecap his next at bat. And I tried to throw it in, and it got away from me and got his kneecap. So he looked at me, and it was probably the only time in my career where I thought a guy might be coming out to the mound and get me.
Kepler with a drive to the gap. Cut off in right by Smith. It'll score 2. Kepler to second is in safely with an RBI double, again jumping on the first pitch. A bunt single and 3 rockets greeting Jimenez here in the 5th.
Well, we had a feeling, and our good friend, the manager of the Orioles, Buck Showalter, kind of tipped his hat to us before the game about whether or not we were going to see a pitcher's duel today. But Max Kepler, my goodness, this is 2 consecutive at-bats where the ball's been away. This one a breaking ball, just perfect. Head still, shoulder down, driving through the baseball, and the result is just tremendous exit velocity, and 2 runners scored.
You know, we're talking about the great rookie class, and I almost added to it. So often it seems like the best rookies are the players who don't get any pre-rookie season publicity. And in that vein, with Buck Showalter coming out, we've heard so much for years about Sano and Buxton. And wouldn't it be something if right with them, Max Kepler would be able to provide a trident of great Twins hitters for years to come?
Well, wouldn't it be something? It's happening.
Yes.
I'm telling you, and it's going to continue to happen, barring any injury for any of those guys. But
Jimenez comes off. Twins, the Orioles take him to a 5-0 and then a 6-2 lead, but that is being frittered away.
On this
Has been smashing the ball for the last 7 games, but again, give the young man some credit because he really was stinging the ball before that, but he didn't change anything. He wasn't getting any hits to show for it, but that swing just looks like the same swing time after time.
yeah, no sense changing that swing. That's one of the best in the game. This is tonight. Ball up and away, and he crushes it. And then the next time up, he gets the breaking ball. It's a little bit further away, but the way he keeps his shoulder in there and drives through the baseball is so impressive. The only teammate I ever had that I think has a similar swing, John Olerud, when I played up in Toronto. Hit almost 400 one year.
Not only have the Twins scored twice, but they have 2 runners in scoring position and nobody out in the inning. Escobar, with the infield playing back, will have a chance to do some damage here against Tyler Wilson.
The new Oriole pitcher.
Swing and a miss. Escobar's had a tough go of it at the plate, and he averaged down to 213.
Well, this again is a situation where Eduardo cannot try to do too much. Just put a nice swing on it, hit the ball hard somewhere. You got the corner infielders playing in.
Outside, 1-1. So Wilson getting into 6 games and Gibson hoping for a reprieve here. Kind of a swing man. He'd been with the Orioles in 15 and 16. Part-time starter. Just outside, a close pitch, and it's 2-1.
Let's take a look at the last pitch, and you can see it clearly kept running away from Eduardo.
Three and one. Polanco on deck.
Well, again, Twins hitters have been patient, and this is another example where Escobar has worked himself into that perfect hitters count. Got runners at second and third, and representing the tying runs.
There's Rouse and the hitting coach looking on, hoping that in a hitter's count, Escobar can deliver. A high fly to left. Retreating is Mancini. Sano will tag, and Kepler trying for third base, and a good base running play by Kepler. It's 6-5 with one out. The tying run is 90 feet away.
Well, you've really got to credit these Twins for what they're doing offensively tonight. They just keep grinding out at bats, and they've put themselves within one now in a game that a year ago we probably wouldn't have seen these same results.
Polanco with the infield in, and the lead now just one. Outside, ball one.
And this guy, not an easy guy to get the baseball by. Doesn't strike out very often.
No activity in the Twins bullpen. And a liner to right, a base hit. The comeback complete on a sharp single to right by Polanco. 6-6. Still only one out in the fifth.
I'm just having fun watching this game tonight. These Twins hitters are doing such a good job of recognizing hittable pitches. This one left out over the middle. We saw Kyle Gibson throw a couple that were left the same way, and the great hitters don't miss them. Jorge Polanco did not miss that one. Kepler comes in to score the tying run, and we're all going to start on a reset here.
Here's Castro with a double and a walk. Twins ran Brian Dozier in a stolen base situation in the first inning. Now they've got game tied. You're down by 5 runs. It's kind of hard to use your running game, but you're not down by 5 runs anymore.
No. Now it's start all over. You see Machado, the only guy on the left side of the infield. Got the shift on.
Line drives all over the place, but yet that was a really nice bunt by Mauer when he was faced with the same infield shift that Castro's facing now. Hey, we're down 4 runs. I got a freebie here, and he put it down, got the base hit.
1 out in 5 hits, 4 runs scored. I mean, they're doing everything the way they should.
Castro swings through a high fastball, and it's 0-2.
We've seen Castro shoot the ball down the third base line before, so if he gets a ball away here and he actually keeps his shoulder in and doesn't try to pull the ball.
Pitch is up, 1-2. And Castro knew it.
Yep.
2 down. That'll bring up Buxton.
Locked him up with that fastball. He was looking for the breaking ball. Let's see where Castillo was setting in, but the ball just absolutely split the outside part of the plate.
Here's Buxton, a liner to Machado to wrap up the 2nd inning, and then he struck out on a pitch in the dirt in the 4th. And Buxton jabbed at it, and now Polanco is out at second. Buxton bunted through the ball. Polanco got hung up between 1st and 2nd, but the Twins had 5 hits and a sacrifice fly in their first 6 plate appearances, and they've tied the game.
Knotted up at 6. Hey, Twins fans, don't forget at Twins home games, bring your Circle Me signs. And if you get circled, you may find yourself in the Minnesota Lottery Winner's Circle, where you could win $100 worth of lottery scratch-off tickets, courtesy of the Minnesota Lottery.
New ball game. Gibson out there to try to keep the game tied. First man he'll face, Wellington Castillo. First pitch tapped foul.
Possibly the most important inning Kyle Gibson's thrown this year. Paul Molitor stayed with him mainly out of necessity. You just needed to extend him and get some length out of him. And the Twins hitters have come back and given him another chance, another breath of fresh air.
Swing and a miss, 0-2.
And if he can just throw that pitch right there, Kyle, get on top of that sinker and let the ball eat. He's got to keep that ball down. Get ahead, keep it down. Every once in a while, move a guy's feet. Comes the breaking ball.
On 3 pitches, Castillo's gone, 1 away. First time Gibson's gotten a leadoff man since the 1st inning.
Third strikeout for Kyle. Let's look at all 3 of these pitches. He starts them off with a fastball, runs in, then another good sinker, and finishes them off with this breaking ball out of the zone. But Castillo, overly aggressive, swings anyway.
Mancini with an RBI double just off the glove of a leaping, sprinting Byron Buxton back in the 2nd. Then he drew a walk. Ball 1. Orioles winning 15 of 18 games here at home, and they've seen their starters spit up a 5-run lead. 1-1.
Well, we talked about the struggles of Kyle Gibson this year, but Ubaldo Jimenez also having a tough go here at Camden Yards, is winless, and he will not be the pitcher of record for this one now.
And now Gibson gets ahead of Mancini 1-2.
Think managers ever get bored?
I know they get ulcers.
This guy has seen a lot of baseball. Of course, Paul Molitor has played and watched a lot of baseball. So both managers, they've witnessed these kind of games before. But like all the fans that are in attendance here, we have to just wait and see what happens. 2 strikeouts.
Good start for Gibson in the 5th inning. Follow Twins Baseball live with the MLB.com At Bat mobile app. Stay connected to the game's best players all season long with game day, live game video highlights, radio broadcasts, stats, news, and more. Download MLB.com At Bat today. It's your #1 app for live baseball. 80 pitches for Gibson. And hoping to do something here today, as unlikely as it seemed in the 2nd inning after he gave up 5 runs. Hoping to do something here today. He's only done in 3 other starts this year. He had 6 starts with the big league club before being demoted to Rochester, and only 3 times did he complete 5 innings. And his longest outing, and he did it twice, 5 1/3. 1-0 to Jonathan Schoop. 2-0.
Ball had great movement. I thought it was in a good location. You can see Kyle's frustrated. He just yelled out, "Let's go." He knows that that was probably a strike. But that's baseball. Kids at the youth level, whether you're young or old like these guys, there's going to be times where the umpire misses a pitch that, whether you're a hitter or a pitcher, you don't agree with.
3-0 to Schoop. Gibson killer J.J. Hardy on deck.
Yeah, so I would suggest you go back and try to get Schoop here.
For foul, now it's 3-1.
Swinging 3-0 on a ball that was down and away.
Duffy's ready, and so you wonder if he loses Schoop here, whether Paul Molitor might make a change with Hardy on deck.
Well, pitch count will be the key. 84 pitches, so it could very well be.
3-1. Well, 3-2. Come back with a chance to get Schoop. Even by a strikeout, striking out the side, just getting him would be a nice recovery inning after the Twins tied it up in the top half.
Yeah, like I said, it's such an important inning for Kyle, and he's got 1 pitch to make right here.
Got him. Came back from 3-0. And Gibson's best inning of the year came at a very opportune time.
Kept the ball down.
recovery for Kyle Gibson after a rough start. You're watching Twins baseball presented by State Farm. And Gibson looks like he's done and out of the game, getting congratulations, and he deserves it. That was a very rough second inning he had, and he gave up just one run after that and finished with the best possible inning, striking out the side. And now Buxton drives one deep down the line, but it's hooking foul.
Yeah, there's going to be the critics out there that say, well, Kyle Gibson gave up another 6 runs and he only went 5 innings. But this last inning, you know, baseball has a rhythm, and he struggled, no question. He was not sharp for 4 innings, but that last inning, after his team comes back and ties the game, is really significant.
Sinking liner down for a hit, and Buxton stings the ball twice. He's got a leadoff single here in the 6th.
Now, again, getting him on first base, but back to Kyle Gibson, you know, he's going to come out of this game, and the numbers are going to not look all that pretty, but he got the Twins through 5. And that's important in the fact that the bullpen is not going to have to chew up innings now tonight. There's still going to be a couple, 3 guys probably come out of the bullpen.
Here's Dozier. Single, a double, stolen base. Came up with a couple of men on and fouled out to Davis to end the 4th.
And if nothing else, just the fact that he was able to get through the 5th inning cleanly with 3 straight strikeouts after the Orioles have put up 7 hits off him in the first 4 innings. It's got to be a momentum builder for Kyle. And we don't know if it's going to be in the big league uniform or back in Rochester his next start, but just glad to see him go out there and have a clean 5th inning.
1-0 to Dozier. To right field. And coming in making the catch is Smith. 1 away. Dozier hitting the ball with some authority to the right side. 1 away. That'll bring up Grossman. Well, the need that created this opening for Gibson in the first place is not going to change.
No. Phil Hughes goes on the DL with tenderness in his right bicep, his throwing arm, and he's going to be on the 10-day DL. So there's going to be an opening in the rotation, at least for one more start.
There is the off day on Thursday, and so you can skip your number 5 guy, whoever you deem that to be. But you know, this is a team that is in first place, but this is a team that is short in the starting pitching department if you count both the major league level and the AAA level where you would draw from in case of a need.
Yep.
And back nicely is Buxton.
To your point, we've seen all the starters we're going to see this year, unless they go outside the organization. And let's take a look at this quick snap throw from Castillo. Buxton getting back, avoiding that tag from Chris Davis.
1-0 to Grossman.
Buxman's working with Paul Molitor on that first step, possibly trying to help him be a better stolen base threat. Here's a guy that hasn't run a lot, of course, hasn't been on base enough, exactly, but certainly has the speed to do it. It's just there's an art to getting that first step.
There he goes. And Castillo's throw offline, and Buxton's in with a stolen base, is able to keep that hand on the bag. Castillo, the throw was off target, but how much of that can you attribute to the fact that even as a catcher, you try to hurry things up along the way when you're dealing with that type of speed? Well,
with his type of speed, you know, Ricky Henderson was the man when it comes to stolen bases, the all-time stolen base leader, and it was all about his first step. But what Buxton can do and what Ricky did is put pressure on people. You just mentioned the catcher. The pitcher speeds up. Everybody speeds up, trying to give yourself a chance to make a play in an attempt at second base.
2-0 to Grossman, and the inside move.
And that's precisely why Byron Buxton needs to be on base. He needs to do something, whether it's ground balls or whatever. He puts pressure on everybody when he puts the ball in play, on the ground especially.
5 for 5 in stolen bases now, and Grossman takes ball 3. Well, it's interesting. I mean, teams don't like to concede the go-ahead run, but the Oriole outfield is playing standard depth. They're not cheating in at all, almost as if to say, look, if it's a base hit, the guy's going to score. We just want to make sure we don't give up an extra base hit needlessly. 3-0, Mauer on deck. And a 4-pitch walk.
Well, you know, and maybe in the 9th inning, game on the line, they would play him in and try to have a chance to throw him out. But you're right, there's time left for both teams to come back and still win this game. They need an out, and they'll trade the run for an out right now.
Mauer's bunt single in the middle of that 4-run game tying 5th has changed the Orioles defense here, although with runners on they likely wouldn't be in an exaggerated pull shift anyway. Machado and Hardy both on the left side of the infield. Outside, ball 1. Both these teams doing well within their division. The Twins are leading the division because they're 16-12 against the American League Central. The Orioles a half game out of first in the East because they are 17-10 against the East. One and 0. Mauer takes a strike.
Joe is the epitome of working the count. In today's generation, Joe Mauer will go deeper into the count than almost any hitter we see. He's very, very comfortable hitting with 2 strikes, and it's almost like he prefers that. He will give the pitcher a chance to walk him.
Foul back.
Let's go back to Joe Mauer's last at bat. The Twins put together consecutive hits, but look at how he actually bunts a ball out of the zone, but he's so focused on getting the bat down or the bat head out, and he puts it in the perfect spot. He doesn't even have to run hard. Once it gets by Jimenez, Machado is not even charging. He's letting that ball die out there. And so just a really good at bat for Joe because he wasn't trying to do too much. He did things in order of what you're supposed to do. Get the bat head out in front and then put the barrel of the bat on the ball in a position where you can put the ball in a good spot.
There's an analogy. Just thought of it. Be like pressing the accelerator before you put the car in gear. It's going to be something's going to make a bad noise. Yeah, it's going to make a bad noise.
Oil pressure is going to go up. And if you have nitrous, it might kick in. That's not good. I know you ride down with nitrous.
1-2 to Mauer. Twins were down 5-0 early. Got it to 5-2. Then it was 6-2. And they tied it in the 5th, trying to take their first lead here in the 6th. Mauer drives it to left. Mancini with a diving attack. It gets by him. Buxton will score. Grossman to third. Mauer to second with a double. And the Twins take their first lead of the ball game.
Just another really good at bat from Joe Mauer. You work the count, got a mistake pitch up in the zone, shoots it to left field. They didn't have the shift. A lot of teams will have him, the left fielder, shifted over right to where Joe just hit that ball. But Mancini playing basically the standard spot. He makes an effort, dives at it, gets by him. Buxton's going to score easily.
We'll see if Sano gets anything to swing at here. First base open, Kepler on deck. Even though Kepler has extra base hits in his last 2 at bats and a total of 3 runs batted in. Sano looks close to me, not that I know anything about it, but he almost hit a home run his second at bat in the 3rd inning. He sent Jones to the edge of the warning track and straightaway center. Then he absolutely pulverized a pitch right past the cap of Jimenez in the 5th. A liner to left, a base hit. Grossman will come in to score. And the Twins lead by a pair. And this is, from memory here, the best game the Twins have had in terms of consistently making solid contact. I mean, they're hitting line drives all over the place.
They are, but that I just have to mention Robbie Grossman. What great base running that was. You're taught as a base runner that when you see a line drive, get back to the base. And as Sano hits this ball, watching the corner over here where Robbie Grossman is, he goes back to the base and still has plenty of time to score. And that's what you're supposed to do. Perfect. Good job by our camera crew to pick that up.
Sano with an RBI single. He's got 2 hits. The Twins have a chance to follow up a 4-run inning with an even bigger inning with Kepler at the plate and only 1 out. Or Wilson having a tough go of it. Gave up the sacrifice fly and the base hit when he entered the game to let the Twins tie it at 6. Now he's only retired 1 batter out of 5 here in the 6th. Kepler has stung the ball the last 2 times up, a home run and a 2-run double. Up and away. Look at that, hitting nearly 400, the type of tear he was on in early August last year when he had that great series in Cleveland.
And you're going to probably see a little bit of the roller coaster ride with young kids through the good weeks and not so good weeks.
Tapper right side and fumbled by Scope. Scope, I think, was intending to just get the out on first. I don't think he was going to try to wheel and get Sano. But an error on Scope. Another run comes in. First and second, nobody out.
We're going to see it again here, and maybe we can determine what his intent was. See Scope.
Well, I guess maybe he was kind of spinning,
yeah,
wasn't he?
He was trying to spin, but he peeked, and that's the Cardinal rule. Don't peek. His head came off the glove. Did not watch the ball go into his glove, and Max Kepler is on first because of it.
Error charge to Scope. Kepler will get credit for a run batted in, and here's Escobar. Outside, ball 1. Escobar with a sacrifice fly, making it a 6-5 game. A drive to the gap in left center field, down for a hit. Sano will score. Kepler behind him. He's being waved around. Throw to the plate, not in time, and Escobar drives in 2 more with a double.
Well, they're coming in bunches in this game. The Twins have really put on their hitting shoes, and Buck Showalter has seen enough out of his right-hander. He's got to make a pitching change.
Crichton warming up. He'll be the next pitcher, but the Twins have backed up a 4-run 5th with so far a 5-run 6th, and they lead it 11-6. They lost 3 games here to Baltimore last year to start the season and scored a total of 7 runs, and they've already got 11 here tonight. this one will stand alone in terms of kind of a desperate feeling everybody had, I think, around the second inning. And now you look up and the Twins, instead of being down by 5, they're up by 5.
Yeah, they've, as you can see by that graphic, whacked the baseball around. 14 hits so far, and we're not close to being done yet. Stephon Crichton coming in, trying to put the fire out for the Orioles.
Polanco singled his last time up, tying the game at 6. The Twins have added 5 more so far here in the 6th. There's still only 1 out in the inning. Stephon Crichton. The Orioles have just 1 left-handed reliever. Something that I would think would change as we move along.
Well, it's, you know, where we are in the game right now, every Twins hitter's already got a hit, and I would argue that every one of them's got a hard hit ball.
Right.
And that's kind of rare, but it's certainly fun for us to watch.
2-0 to Polanco. Escobar at second, 1 away. A drive to deep center field. Jones back, and that hits the wall. Escobar's going to be held, and Polanco has a double, and Escobar flops back to third. Escobar had to try to play it conservatively, or he chose to, figuring Jones may catch the ball, and he wanted to go to third, so he does not score from second on the double. Third hit tonight for Jorge Polanco.
Well, I don't know when they're going to start bringing out the oxygen for the outfielders, but they've been running everywhere. Polanco with another beautiful swing, making contact out in front. This ball driven past Adam Jones out in center. He plays it perfectly off the wall, and that was what created the chance. And Gene Glenn does a nice job there with this nice lead that they have of keeping Escobar at third base and letting the next guy, Jason Castro, try to keep the thing going.
Infield in for the Orioles. Might be a bit of an exaggeration, but it seems like there have been more line drives hit tonight than in the entire homestand.
I wouldn't doubt that. It's just, there's a lot of records that are going to fall, the season records anyway, for the Twins tonight.
15 hits for the Twins, and they were down 5-0. Fouled away, 1-1. Castro, a double with 2 outs in the second. He was left there. Drew a walk in the 4th. He was left at first. He was called out on strikes to end the 5th. 9th man to bat here in the 6th inning. Foul back. Castro spun on one, and
we're seeing swings, and I didn't really want to bring it up, but I can't help myself. There's some bad blood between Baltimore and Boston right now.
Yes,
we saw all that where the commissioner had to get involved. Pitchers throwing at hitters, behind hitters, all sorts of nonsense. But today, the Twins are just getting pitches to hit, and it's not changing. And Castro just got a pitch that he could have crushed.
1-2. Inside, nearly hit him.
There's the first real pitch at all from the Orioles to the Twins that made a guy move his feet. And that's the kind of pitch, when I say move a guy's feet, that's what I mean right there. You didn't hit him. You just made him a little more uncomfortable. It's probably too late for Baltimore, but it's something you've got to do as a pitcher to get any kind of respect out there.
Castro takes another call, third strike. Second time that he has struck out looking. And that'll bring up Buxton. Tuesday, June 20th is University of St. Thomas night at Target Field. A limited number of St. Thomas theme night ticket packages are available. That includes a game ticket and a purple and gray Twins cap. Learn more at twinsbaseball.com/St. Thomas or call 800-33-TWINS. Buxton started this big inning with a single. And now he takes ball 1. Singled and scored. He's hit 2 line drives today, lining out to the third baseman Machado in the second, and then he cleared Machado and lined a single into left to start this 6th inning. Over for a strike, 1-1. Half swing, but a strike, and it's 1-2.
Still 2 runners out there for Byron. Picks up a couple more RBI here with a base hit.
1-2 to Buxton. And Castillo thought that might have hit the corner, and they might have rung up Buxton like they did Castro. Close pitch. Two and two. And a balk. Well, that's a balk. A run will come in. He can hurry all he wants, but whatever.
I've never seen a balk like that. He was actually trying to throw the pitch and it hit his leg.
So a balk scores Escobar from third, and it's 12-6. Sorry to laugh.
Comes down,
just
the ball
rolled out of
just
his
squirts
hand.
out of his hand. He's in his delivery.
More pine tar.
Oh, cut it out.
2-2. And Buxton takes ball 3. Dozier hoping for a chance. Buxton hoping to get on base. Popped up, it'll reach the seats. Well, we said even before it happened that this Twins team has shown the ability to come back from big numbers. They were down 4 runs to Chris Sale and tied the game up at home, and then they did it. And what that does is just feeds your confidence that you can keep doing it again.
Yeah, that's one thing about young teams. When they start smelling success,
fouls it back.
They look across the field to the teams that have taken care of them in the past. And I've been through this with a couple different teams. You look across and you say, no more. It's our time now. And at least we're going to give you, you're going to have to earn it. We're not rolling over anymore. And I think that's what you're seeing from the Twins lately.
Buxton swings through, strike 3. Twins back up a 4-run 5th with a 6-run 6th, and now they lead by 6.
Hits all over the place for the Kyle Gibson's thrown this year.
Got him. Came back from 3-0. And Gibson's best inning of the year came at a very opportune time. Well, it wasn't pretty in the second inning, but Gibson hung around, gave the team 5 innings, and wouldn't you know it, the Twins scored 10 runs for him and 11 runs in the middle innings, and now have a 6-run lead. He's the pitcher of record.
Well, that's why you never can quit, even though he started out struggling, command, pitch count, all the things that we've seen from Kyle in the past. The guy's got him a lot of runs, and you know, he got another chance. He went out and had 1 good inning, and now he's the pitcher of record. If Tyler Duffey can continue the brilliance of the bullpen for the Twins, they're going to pick up a win here, and they should. They've got a 6-run lead now.
Duffey delivers strike 1 to J.J. Hardy. And now strike 2. You know, this bullpen, as Audra showed in our pregame show, has done a nice job the last couple of weeks, because by and large people have kind of settled into some roles because the starters have ball dribbled back to the mound. Duffey has an easy play, 1 down. The starters have done, in most cases, a good job. You're not asking for Duffey to come into the ball game in the 4th inning to try to clean up that inning and then maybe get a 5th. It's so much easier and so much more orderly when relievers start innings.
Well, and Paul has so many more options. You can rest guys. Last year we had so many games where it was 4 innings, 5 innings, 4 innings, 5 innings, 5 innings, 5.5 innings. In the bullpen, we were using 4 or 5 guys every single night. Well, that takes its toll on those guys. They're used to getting up maybe for an inning every other day. Some of them multi-innings, but then they get a few days off. And that's what Paul's been able to do now with the bullpen, and they're responding with it quite nicely.
1 strike with Duffey getting ahead of Seth Smith. Swing and a miss. So now you've got Duffey positioned to maybe pitch the 6th and the 7th inning, and then, you know, it's a toss of the coin whether you want Rogers, whether you want Belisle, whether you want Presley, and maybe you don't even need to use Kinsler tonight. That'd be fine too.
Sure, have him ready for tomorrow when the game's on the line, and a more typical save situation.
And a 3-pitch strikeout of Seth Smith, 2 down. Nobody sees sports quite the way Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock do. The brains to know and the guts to say. Catch Colin and Jason as they team up for FS1's daily sports talk show, Speak for Yourself, weekdays at 4 p.m. Central. Two down, and now Adam Jones. I guess what we're inferring, and I think we've seen it in play here in the first quarter of this season, there are some weapons in the bullpen. Duffey, a former starter, is a weapon, particularly against right-handed batters, as we've seen. He's delivered strike 1 to all 3 batters here this inning.
You know, Tyler Duffey is a great example of what can happen to a young guy that struggles with 3 pitches, but doesn't necessarily need 3 out of the bullpen. He's picked up velocity. Look at that, just ate up a bat with a fastball.
That one didn't hit a base. And Duffey has a quick 1-2-3 6th inning. Baseball break. Corey Dickerson with his 12th home run of the year for the Rays. This Rays team is an interesting team. They strike out a lot. They hit a lot of home runs, and they may hang in the American League East. Didi Gregorius with his 2nd home run of the season. He can hit all he would like against the Royals since they're a divisional opponent. And Jason Kipnis with a home run, but the Reds are leading the Indians. The Twins have a chance to expand their lead over Cleveland by a full game from a couple of percentage points. Here's Brian Dozier to start the 7th inning. And strike 1. And another offensive outburst on the road for the Twins. Strike 2 on the outside corner. And now 1-2.
Neil Allen going over some things with Tyler Duffy.
Well, the inning was so quick, and there's no activity in the bullpen. I would think that
Duffy
will be sent back
inning,
out there. Did your pitching coaches, you were a starter, of course, so it's different, but did they come and talk to you in the midst of your outings?
Rarely.
Yeah.
Rarely. But again, different time in baseball, all right? Most pitchers from my generation didn't want to be talking to our pitching coaches during the game. And quite honestly, I think it was stupidity. I admit that I wasn't. I was too bullheaded to listen to advice. Brian Dozier goes out swinging on a high fastball there. But today's game, you see it all the time. And they're out there trying to give them whatever they see to help them. And that's the way it should be.
Most of the time, I still, I'm just a member of the media here, and I don't talk to the starter on the day he pitches because I just respect the fact that they might want to just kind of be focused in and all that. And some of them don't care. They'll talk to you. They'll say hi. They'll talk fishing, hunting, whatever. But I just was curious whether, once the game started, and particularly, I guess, if things are going well, here Duffy breezed through the inning. Just let him go.
And I'm not really sure what that conversation is of, but obviously Neil Allen saw something that can help Tyler Duffy. So he went up and told him that. And Duff was very receptive. You could see that he wasn't upset at all. He just had a really clean 1, 2, 3 innings. So I don't think it was anything serious, but it's a little kudo that he probably saw that, hey, Tyler, try this, or what were you thinking there, or whatever the conversation was.
The center off the bat of Grossman. Jones got a late start. Did he get there? Adam Jones with a great catch in center field. Similar to the catch Buxton made yesterday, where it looked like Jones initially broke back and then was able to recover.
Well, he's been so used to going back. This ball's hit in front of him. You see, take 2 or 3 steps back and then recovers. And Fearless coming all the way in. We're going to see a good look. Yep, truly in his webbing, stays with it all the way. He's a gamer.
2
no
down.
Question.
And now Mauer. A walk, a bunt single, and an RBI double for Joe in the ball game. And strike 1. $12,882 the paid attendance here tonight. Now inside, and it's 1-1. Middle of the ball game, and for that matter, the middle of the lineup has done a lot of damage in this ball game. Mauer has scored a couple of runs, driven in 1. Sano has scored 2, driven in 1. Kepler has scored 3 times, driven in 4.
A lot of Twins hitters with multiple hits in this one.
Sano hoping for a chance here in the 7th. 2-1 to Mauer. Three-hit day for Joe Mauer. And Sano will have his chance here with 2 down in the 7th. Sano nearly seared the lips off of Jimenez in the 5th inning for his first hit. Then lined an RBI single to left in the 6th. Ball 1.
You talk about adjustments within the game. Miguel Sano did that in the 1st inning. Ubaldo Jimenez really made him look foolish. He swung out of the zone on breaking balls, 3 pitches, and he flied out to center field. Ball deeply on the warning track to Adam Jones.
Breaking ball over for a strike, 1-1.
But he made the adjustments and back-to-back hits, an RBI, 2 runs scored. You know, both balls that he got hits on were hit hard.
Two and 1. Fox Tracks brought to you by Carrier. Where was it?
Might have got a break there.
So it's 2 and 1 instead of 1 and 2. Foul back 2 and 2. Kepler on deck, hoping he'll have another chance here in the 7th inning. And Sano rifles a base hit to left, his 3rd straight single, and that will bring Kepler up with 2 men aboard. Honestly, when I get back to the hotel room tonight, I'm going to look at the box scores for the 6 games in the homestand, and then I'm going to add up all the bullets hit here today. There have been more here in this game than I think in the entire homestand.
Yeah, some really good swings by the Twins hitters, squaring up the baseball.
Nobody's maybe had any more impactful swings than Kepler. Hammered a first pitch home run in the 4th. A 2-run double in the 5th. Got credit for another run batted in on a ground ball booted by Scope. Strike 1.
I get a kick out of Torrey and Roy when they're on talking about barreling up the ball. And it's so understandable to almost everybody that's ever played the game what that means. You put the good part of the bat on the baseball, and that's not easy to do when guys are throwing 90 miles an hour.
Nice stop by Davis, and he denies Kepler. Another run batted in, and a hit along the way, and the Twins leave 2 aboard in the 7th. To talk for the next 3 minutes, Jack Morris.
Well, Adam Jones gets a big 3-run home run That put Baltimore up big. Max Kepler, what a night he's had. Couple hits, a home run, RBIs, Twins running all over, and Jorge Polanco getting the big hit to tie the game at the time. And then the Twins just keep adding on. Joe Mauer with his double. 2 more runs score. He had a bunt base hit. Escobar with a double. Twins score 6 runs in their 6th inning, and the Twins now lead it 12-6. 17 hits total for the Twins.
Manny Machado will lead off the 7th against Tyler Duffy. Another thing that a game like this will do. Not only does it build your confidence, my goodness, the Twins were down 5-0, 6-2, and looks like Kyle Gibson might not even get through the 3rd inning. But games like this, to me, expose other teams' warts as well. I mean, here are the Orioles, the only teams in the American League with a better record than the Orioles are the Yankees by a half game and the Houston Astros. And here are the Orioles, who been staked to a 5-0 lead in the opening game of a series, and they're being blown out here in the late innings. Sometimes you get so locked into your shortcomings. Duffy with another quick strikeout, 1 away.
Duffy has not thrown a ball yet. He has been nothing but filling up the strike zone.
You're right.
And it's been sliders and fastballs. Here's another breaking ball, stays up in the upper quadrant of the zone, locks up Manny Machado. You see his hip gone.
Seen some really good right-handed batters, veteran guys like Hardy, Jones, and now Machado, who they don't see the ball real well with Duffy. Here's a ball grounded toward the hole, and it is through the hole. Trumbo with a ground ball, a seeing eye single between Sano and Polanco. And Davis will come up with a man aboard. You know, I'm getting back to the point we were talking about. You're so locked in, like, oh my gosh, what are they going to do? Is Mejia going to be able to do this? And what about this problem and all that? And then you look around. You know who's got the worst starting pitching in the American League right now? The Cleveland Indians.
Yeah, who would have thought that?
And we're a quarter of the way through the season. Fouled back.
Mets in the National League, similar situation. A couple guys on the DL. You know, they had maybe arguably the best pitching staff in baseball coming into the season.
Now, will Cleveland's situation get better if Corey Kluber comes back close to his usual self, of course?
I just believe there's a letdown for teams that are in the World Series.
Well, I wanted to eventually ask you that.
Yeah, to come back out and have the same intensity year in, year out, that's when you really know you have pros. I was fortunate up in Toronto to have the nucleus of a team that won a world championship in '92 come back and repeat in '93, and that's an odd. You don't see that in baseball much anymore.
Davis gone on 3 pitches.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Minnesota Twins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent to the Minnesota Twins. Well, Duffy picks up another strikeout, and should we mention the fact that it's some pretty good hitters that he's striking out?
Yeah, 15 for 15 in terms of strikes thrown. And he missed. Ball 1 to Wellington.
The sky is falling.
And here comes Paul Mauer.
Yeah, it's nice to have a little fun up here.
Well, we're seeing excellence on the mound here from Duffy. 1-1. You know, let's extend the discussion regarding the Twins bullpen. Duffy's, for right now at least, looks like he's found his role. What we've seen the last couple of times, a completely regenerated Ryan Presley. And Kinsler's been very steady.
The guy that's throwing right now in the bullpen has had a couple good outings where, you know, he's made a major adjustment in his, at this point in his career. Craig Breslow, as he warms up, has dropped his arm slot down, and you know, for a while there wasn't any consistency. He was kind of scatter all over the place, and now all of a sudden he's got that big sweep and breaking ball that we see from guys like Chris Sale that throw the ball from out here. And you know, I'm not saying it's the same as sales, but the results are getting better.
2 very tidy innings for Tyler Duffy. Thank you very much. He's certainly infused some energy into that Detroit lineup. Well, the Tigers yesterday scored 2 runs, lost to Texas. They're being shut out tonight by Houston 1-0. Royals have already lost. Eduardo Escobar to lead off the Twins' 8th, up by 6. On the ground, Scope has pretty much the same play he did not make in the Kepler at bat in the 6th, but he makes it here 1 away. And that'll bring up Polanco. Polanco's got 3 hits. A lot of guys have multiple hits here. There are 3 players with 3 hits and a couple with 2.
Well, you got to cherish these kind of games. You don't see that every single night, and pitching certainly a factor of that. But the Twins showing promise, continually growing as young players, but as a team. These are nights that can really bring a team together. You want to go out and do it again.
Taking low, ball 1. Is there anything to the theory? I think I brought it up with LaTroy, maybe Torrey during the homestand. It just seems like the at-bats are so much more relaxed than they are at home. And can it just be as simple as young guys who want to, get that big double at home, and on the road it's we'll see.
You know, it truly usually is the other way around, and I'm a little bit.
Now Polanco's got a 4-hit night.
I'm a little bit surprised by it, but I really think it has more to do with who you're playing and how they're playing at the time. You know, we got Jimenez, who hasn't won a game,
right?
And he left the game with 6 runs.
18 hits, the team batting average going up, and now Castro looking for his 2nd hit. He's doubled, walked, and struck out looking twice. Hey, you were in the middle of something last half inning talking about, a team like Cleveland getting to the World Series, and every inning, every pitch is so important, and then you have to come back. There's Castro lifting one fairly deep to the corner and left. Mancini makes the catch 2 away. Then you got to come back and you got to start all over again after a short off season.
Yeah, I think there is some letdown for teams that win the World Championship the following year. And what I wanted to remind people about is the team that we had in Toronto. We had basically an all-star lineup, and Dave Winfield was playing at his very best in '92, and we ended up winning the World Series. And then the following year, Dave Winfield leaves, and we get a guy named Molitor to replace Winfield. And Paul wanted so badly to be a part of that team because it was such a quality team. And his contribution was unquestionably the biggest factor in '93. And we had guys like Dave Stewart and David Cohn who came over in '93, and they wanted to be a part of that. They sensed it. So it almost motivated the guts of the team to go keep that intensity up. And, you know, in some ways it was almost more fun, but that's a rarity to have those kind of professionals to be able to grind it out 2 years back to back.
1-1 to Buxton. A big pop-up, short center field. Scope is out. And the Twins are done in the 8th. You're watching Twins baseball presented by State Farm. Right now, we thought it was going to be a blowout the other way, but
it was at one time.
It was 5-0 after 2 innings. But Craig Breslow come in to pitch to the Orioles in the 8th, and yeah, rather quietly because of the role that he's in. Breslow's done a nice job putting up some good numbers, but his role can change.
Yeah, it can, and I think ideally they would like to see Craig Breslow be that guy to get one left-hander out. That's a crucial part of a late inning, you know, comeback for the opposition, and yet Craig is strong enough and been around the game long enough. Very smart guy. Paul's used him for not only 1 inning, you know, 3 outs, but multiple innings at times. So it's a mix and match at times for that bullpen. But when everybody's doing well, it makes it so much easier for the manager, pitching coach Neil Allen, and even Eddie Gordato, who puts his input in.
Strike one now, ball one. To your point, Breslow giving up just a 118 average to left-handers, 2 for 17. Now there have been 4 walks, but the walks came in the first week or so, where you can understand Breslow's trying to get used to a new delivery and missing outside there 2-1, and now with every outing, he's, I'm sure, kind of, you know, restoring some muscle memory into a different delivery.
And that's just it. Breslow's got to get a little bit of positive reinforcement to create that muscle memory.
Dozier fields an easy hop and flips to first, 1 down. We have an interactive broadcast plan for tomorrow night, and we're looking for your Twins fan photos for TV. Submit via #TwinsDP, and we will be showing your fan photos throughout the night. Tune in for our first ever Twins double play on Plus tomorrow at 6, or stream it on Fox Sports Go. One down in the 8th. The Twins bullpen has been nearly perfect since picking the game up for Gibson after 5.
Well, the biggest key for Breslow is how he finishes. He's got to finish towards Castro's glove, and sometimes with a new delivery where he's dropping down, you see his back shoulder collapse a little bit because he's trying to get it out there at a different arm angle. And sometimes when you do one adjustment, it creates another adjustment necessary, but he's got to follow through and still finish off towards the glove.
A change up there and got a foul pop for a strike. 1-1.
Let's watch how Craig kind of comes towards us a little bit with his arm. He drops his shoulder a little bit, and then he opens up, and he's a little, even though his legs landing in the straight line towards the catcher, his body is on the first base side a little bit, so he's got to finish up again with his momentum going towards the catcher.
You can talk all you want about the 92 and 93 Blue Jays, but for most of our viewing audience, they'll remember you for your role in the 91 team. Here's a look at Breslow's delivery. And in 1991, you guys had a good bullpen, and managers sometimes like to have some guys with a little funk in their delivery, something a little quirky. And you guys had Terry Leach from the right side.
Yeah, Terry was a submariner guy, a little almost under, it wasn't just sidearm, it was a little bit under. And yeah, he had a little funk in his delivery, but he threw strikes, and TK could go to him. We just, we really did have a good team back then. Bullpen was anchored by Rick Aguilera, who was one of the better closers in baseball.
So bare hands it and can't pull the trigger on the throw. Even with his arm, I don't know that he would have thrown out Scope. That's a tough ball if it's rolling to bare hand, but that one was bouncing about a foot in the air. Should be a base hit for Scope.
Let's take another look at it. You see Snow charging. He gets the ball, and he's so good at barehanding it, but as he's trying to come up and throw the ball must have squirted out of his fingers a little bit. You see, it looks like he's got it, but when you get it, it's in the palm of your hand, and then you got to transfer it within your hand to the tips of your fingers so you can throw the baseball. And among that transfer is when the ball squirted out.
Strike at the knees to J.J. Hardy. Breslow's gotten one out here in the 8th. And would like to get the other two without causing any squirming in the Twins dugout. And we talked about, how good Breslow's been against lefties. A 118 average. Average against right-handers is, pretty good. 235, 8 hits, and 34 at bats. 1-1 to Hardy. Swing and a miss. 1-2. Well, that was 90 miles per hour. There's nothing to be ashamed about if you can, whatever your arm angle is, throw it 90 miles per hour.
Well, the reason he dropped down is he's trying to create more movement, and typically you will. The ball will either sink more, or in his case, he wants to really get that slider to really bite back in on a right-hander and away from a sweeping slider away from a left-hander.
And that sails outside, now 2-2.
But when you see the ball up from a guy like Craig Breslow, who's trying to drop down a little bit, it's only because he's not finishing. It's because he's standing kind of straight up. We see Phil Hughes do that a lot. And you've got to still bend your back and finish with your hand towards the catcher's glove to get that downward plane. Like that.
Now 3-2. Hardy, the number 9 batter. And Seth Smith waiting on deck. Popped up, and it's a foul ball out of play.
We talked about J.J. Hardy and his numbers off Kyle Gibson, but if you look at his numbers coming into tonight's game for the season, they're not all that spectacular.
Right.
He's hitting under 200 coming into the game. Has a pair of home runs.
Full count. Breslow to Hardy. Another foul.
I'm trying to think, were these guys teammates when they were with the Twins?
That's a good question. About the same era. I think Hardy may have come after.
Might have missed
Breslow
by a year or so, but they were right around the same time.
Fly ball, short right field. In fact, Dozier is out in the outfield grass to make the catch. Hardy finally disposed of. Craig Breslow was with the team in 2008 and 09, and Hardy came along the next year.
So they just missed each other. They didn't wear the same Twins uniform.
2 down, and now Seth Smith, a left-handed batter for Breslow to hopefully retire. Pull shift on for Smith, and a slow breaking ball misses. Ball 1. If you just joined us, the Orioles jumped out in front 5-0 with a 5-run second inning. The Twins had a couple of mini comebacks, but it was 6-2 until the Twins scored 4 times to tie the game in the 5th, and they scored 6 times in the 6th. There's a breaking ball that's a little bit better, and it's 1-1.
Again, finishing off the pitch there, Breslow was able to do that better. The ball stayed down. It had a lot more break to it.
Cleveland's lost to Cincinnati 5-1. Kansas City's lost to the Yankees. A chance for the Twins to finish off a win here and put a little distance between themselves and the Indians. 1-2. Tigers are behind the Astros 1-0 in the 7th. And the White Sox just underway on the West Coast. What a difference a year makes, and how sullen everyone was with this Twins organization a year ago. Breaking ball got him. Breslow has a good inning. A scoreless 8th, and we go to the 9th. A butt kicking in the first game so far anyway. 12-6. Businesses of all sizes gain an edge by hosting their clients during a Twins game at Target Field. Take advantage of all that Target Field has to offer, from a private suite to special group seating arrangements. Learn more at twinsbaseball.com/groups or call 800-33-TWINS. Ask about a Twins group outing. Dozier takes outside ball one. A butt kicking, and it has to feel particularly good when it looked like it was yours that was going to get kicked.
Well, that's why you just got to keep grinding. I think Buck Showalter is pretty happy with the guy on the mound. He's come into a situation that certainly not the easiest time to pitch when your team's down. At the time he came in the game, and they were down by 5.
Richard Blyer, the lone lefty, getting loose.
But sometimes guys in the bullpen have to be the sacrificial lambs and just go some distance to try to bridge the gap and rest the other group for the next game. And Creighton's done a good job for them to do that. Oh my!
Dozier drives one hard to left, caught by the left fielder Mancini.
I had my head down and I just heard the crack, and I thought, oh my, that's gone.
Still causes shivers, right?
You haven't been 55 feet away when a guy cranks.
No.
Yeah, those balls right there, when it's center cut like that, it's usually not a good result.
One down, and now Robbie Grossman. Scored a couple of runs, has a walk and a hit, and a roller up the middle. That'll leak through for a base hit. Grossman aboard. That'll bring Mauer to the plate looking for a 4-hit night. "19 hits for the Twins."
Well, this ball's down in the zone, and Robbie goes down and just puts the barrel on the ball and gets it by Scope as he goes to his right.
Well, Grossman is hitting close to 300 now as a left-handed batter. That's supposedly his weakest side, but he's improved immensely.
Well, he's got a lot of at-bats as a left-hander now too.
Here's Mauer.
Paul Mahler has a lot of faith in Robbie Grossman. You know, he's got a big strong monster in Kenneth Vargas on the bench, and yet he's a little hesitant to play Kenny all the time like he would Sano or Kepler, because Robbie's just given him a great contribution. He's got a good on-base percentage. He grinds out his bats. He knows that he's going to be serviceable as a defender, and whether left field or right field.
All right. Well, Grossman, his on-base percentage is going to go up today. He's got 2 hits and a walk, so that's an on-base percentage of .500. He came into the game at .413, and I'm not sure why we had to get Dustin Morse, the Twins media relations director. For a long time, Miguel Sano was actually leading the league in on-base percentage, but wasn't listed by the stats, and Grossman has enough plate appearances to be among the league leaders. Here's a drive to right center field, deep to the gap, and Jones makes a hip-high catch. And Mauer nearly hit a home run. It would have been his 4th hit of the night. 2 away. But Grossman should have been listed 4th in the American League in on-base percentage, and he's not. 2 down, and you could see Smith pulling up once Jones called for it. And Sano's on-base percentage will go up.
Adam Jones takes a lot of pride in center field. He's what Buxton's becoming. You know, and when you're a guy that really wants the ball hit to you, the other guys around you know that. The other 2 outfielders know that, and Seth Smith certainly doesn't have the speed or the range that Adam Jones does, and he just held up because Jonesy probably yelled out enough that he could hear him. I've got it.
1 strike to Sano. Sharp singles in each of his last 3 at bats, and a towering fly ball to the warning track the time before that. 0-2. Is there a 20th hit in the night for the Twins? 1 and 2. Ooh. A foul back.
How come I never got results with the hanging slider?
You never
like
got
that?
away with those?
Well, I did. I did, but every time I did, I thank the good Lord, because too many guys reminded me not to throw it like that.
Another 1-2 to Sano. And down 2-2.
That ball took off, had some real tail to it.
Yeah, Crichton's done his job. He came into a tough spot, and he's kept the Twins off the board. And they're just missing now 3 and 2. Kepler might have a 6th at bat. A lot of offense, and be remiss if we didn't mention that on this date in 09, 8 years ago, Michael Kadire hit for the cycle. No cycles tonight, but a lot of well hit base hits, and now Sano drives one to left. It is back and gone.
All night, big boy.
There is a 20th hit in the night for the Twins, and it's a Sano home run, his 11th.
That'll be fun for Anthony and the gang there back at the studio to try to break this one down, and there'll be a lot of swings of baseballs. Tim Laudner will have a lot of fun with this one tonight.
And Crichton gave the Orioles all he could, and his last pitch hammered over the fence. Sano's first home run in a week and a half. He's driven in 3 tonight. His total now 37. Depending on what happens in the Seattle game, that may tie him with Nelson Cruz for the league lead. Sano and the Twins have worn out the Oriole pitching staff. 20 hits, 14 runs, and now lefty versus lefty Max Kepler will face Blyer. Kyle Gibson got 20 hits and a whole bunch of runs in Chicago a little less than 3 years ago. Last time the Twins got 20 hits on the road, 1-1.
Did I ever tell you I never lost with 10?
10 runs.
10 runs,
right.
Yeah. You get 20 hits, you got to get 10 runs, right?
Boy, you'd hope so. There have been some walks mixed in again here in tonight's game. Kepler swings and misses. They scored 16 runs that night. They scored 20. Kepler's had some big swings, and he's driven in 4 runs. Got a piece. Maybe the final piece of the puzzle for Kepler will be hitting left-handed pitching. Hitting just 147 against lefties. Of course, the only way that's ever going to occur is for him to get at bats against lefties. That's where Robbie Grossman comes in when there is a left-handed pitcher on the mound. Sometimes we've seen Grossman in the outfield instead of Kepler. Fighting off a pitch away.
You know, with Max's approach at the plate, the way he keeps his shoulder in, I don't think it's going to be a problem for him to finally eventually be really good from both sides, or excuse me, a left-hander or righty. I don't think it's going to matter that much. You know, there's always going to be that nasty left-hander that makes it hard on a guy. Joe Mauer has trouble with some left-handers.
Scope fires, and Kepler will reach. Davis didn't make the catch, and we'll see whether Kepler gets a base
hit. Throw was a little offline, but
it's give him a hit.
It's a base hit.
He reached on a scope error in the 6th.
So that's his 3rd hit.
And that'll get Escobar a chance here as a right-handed batter. Scope cut in front of Hardy would have had an easier throw.
You know, I think that's the case where the shift, he's just doing what instincts tell him to do.
Yeah. That ground ball in a normal alignment, that's your ball to get, rather than imagining the shortstop cutting behind. Strike over the inside corner.
This is turning into a crisp 3.5-hour wiggle.
There's one hit, but it was a big one. Escobar with a sacrifice fly drove in a run, and then he drove in 2 the next inning with a double. Line foul. And everybody, I think, okay beyond the Oriole dugout. 2 strikes to Escobar. And Escobar strikes out. The Twins are done on the 9th, but they add 2 more on a Sano home run. Couple of home runs for the Twins. Max Kepler hit one. Then in the ninth, Miguel Sano hit one. 21 hits, 14 runs. And the Twins, who really were victimized by the Orioles last year, have gotten this season series started off on the right foot. And now Justin Haley will try to pitch an orderly ninth inning.
Well, Justin needs this work. Work. He hasn't been on the mound in a while. And with a big cushion, he gets to hopefully relax and throw some strikes and get some people out in a hurry.
Chance for Buck Showalter to use his bench here in the ninth inning. Kim will hit, facing the right-hander Justin Haley. Joey Rickards on deck. He'll hit for Machado.
Let's go, Justin!
Comes with a pull shift on for Kim, and Haley follows a pattern here that the bullpen set early by throwing strikes. Tyler Duffy's first 15 pitches out of the bullpen were strikes, and now Haley pumps one in right after the other. Second base bag on an 0-2 pitch. Kim gets a base hit. And that'll bring up Rickard. Machado with an RBI double and a walk in 4 plate appearances. Kim aboard. And Mauer will play behind him. Pitch is up. Now you've seen Haley. And where do you project him? Is he a relief pitcher or is he a starting pitcher, do you think? Not this year.
Yeah.
Down the road. The Rule 5 restriction will be lifted after this year, and Haley may end up being in the minor leagues.
I haven't seen him as a starter, so I really am not qualified to judge that. But I see some of the issues he would have. You know, he's certainly a cross thrower. The way he steps, he's totally throwing against his body, and that's going to limit his command.
3-0 now to Rickard.
And you know, these are not the type of outings that it's easy for me to judge him either, because he hasn't pitched in so long.
Periodically we try to remind you what the Rule 5 status requires, and that is that he remain on the 25-man roster. 4-pitch walk, and now he's runners at first and second. Haley's already spent some time on the disabled list. And now Trumbo will bat. He has a walk, a single, and a double.
Well, Major League Baseball, there are no gifts. The guys have to earn it all the time, and Haley's out here, you know, even though this is the blowout game where the Twins are winning by 14-6, he's got to get 3 outs. They're Major League outs. And guys like Mark Trumbull and Joey Rickard, they're not going to just let him go to the showers.
Right. Caleb Joseph is on deck. He'll hit in the catcher's spot. Or in Davis's spot, I should say. Foul back. 0-2. It's always interesting to see what happens to a player after the Rule 5 year. And whether they're sent to the minors, as Johan Santana was, or whether they stay in the big leagues like Ryan Presley has. Foul. A lot of it, of course, depends on the needs and the roster's construction at the time. Oh, 0-2. Haley to Trumbo. 11 pitches, 6 strikes for Haley.
You really can't expect him to be real sharp with his command, but you're hoping that at least he can induce some ground balls or put the ball in play.
On the ground, should be 2. 1 and 2. So Haley got the ground ball, and on the play, Kim goes to third base. And that'll bring up Caleb Joseph. We think the weather's going to be okay again tomorrow. CenturyLink. What's next? Irvin Santana hoping to bounce back after a disappointing start against the Rockies. And Dylan Bundy has been really, really good for the Orioles. Will pitch for Baltimore. Chris Davis, the batter.
So you're saying maybe we'll see a different, maybe lower scoring game tomorrow?
I'm guessing there won't be 20 runs scored, but that's what we thought. You know.
Yeah.
A couple of other Santana starts.
Sales,
exactly.
Yeah, Irvin Santana
start. Well, Irvin wants to get back the rhythm that he was in, and I know it'll help him immensely. That might be cloudy, but it's not going to be 42 degrees here tomorrow. Nice stop by Castro.
Well, Haley needs one more out here. Twins position players are being patient, hoping that maybe the ball will be hit to them. They can celebrate a nice win tonight.
2-1. Swinging a foul. Got Castro on the mask. 2-2. Twins had a 3-3 homestand, trying to continue a good run of baseball on the road. 2-2 to Caleb Joseph. And that's dumped to right, base hit, and the run will be charged to Haley. Not well hit at all, but Joseph dumps a single into right to prolong the game. That'll bring up Wellington Castillo. Popped up, and Mauer over for a look, but it's out of play. If the Twins win this game, and my goodness, it better, they would move to 11-7 in the month of May with 8 games left to play, and it's a modest thing, of course, but you know, as we've said a couple of times already, if this team puts together 6 winning months, they're going to be in the playoffs. And they had a winning April, 12-11, and they played a little bit better than that in the month of May so far. 2 strikes.
Well, we also have to acknowledge that the Twins just played a very good Colorado Rocky team. We're playing now the Baltimore Orioles, who have a better record than the Twins. They're a good team. Tampa Bay, like you mentioned, is coming into town when they go home, and they've played better. So the challenge is going to be there, and if they can hold their own and maybe win series, that'll do it.
That takes care of it. Haley a little disgusted that he gave up a run, but in its own way, this may be the most impressive win of the year. When your starter gives up 5 runs in the second, you keep after it and end up winning comfortably at the end. That's a nice thing.
Well, I've certainly enjoyed watching the game, and the guys certainly grinded out their at bats, some quality at bats. The balls were really hit all over the place. Proud of Kyle Gibson for grinding through it and finishing off the 5th inning. He's going to pick up his first win, and the bullpen doing their job again.
Anthony, another road trip that gets started on the right foot.
We trust that you have received the best service possible, and we look forward soon. Please remember to check under your seat.